We'll do this later. All right, here we go, man.
All right, so this is episode 1 of Order and Chaos. My name is Anthony Jones. I'm one of the co-hosts on this beautiful podcast, or I should say, it's probably like a video cast. And I'm here with my buddy Joel Pilka. Joel.
Hey, what's up? Happy to be here, man. This is my favorite time ever.
And
Thanks.
neither of us are Order or Chaos. It's just that's the name. So sometimes he'll be Chaos and I'll be Order. Sometimes I'll be Chaos and he'll be Order. But that's the perfect, in a nutshell, title for what we're going to be talking about on this show forever. So we got 3 topics every single episode. 3 topics that we kind of don't tell each other about, but we kind of review right before we hit record. This week we're going to talk about health because I had some health issues. I'm also going to talk about that on my podcast. The second thing that we're going to talk about is, again, what were you saying?
Rules.
Rules. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that one because we went over the 12 rules, or it was like maybe 10 or 11.
Yeah.
But we went over some rules for Joel in particular, just because I assaulted him with shit that he should be focusing on. And then the third one we're going to talk about is, like I said, like an Order in Chaos general topic. This week's general topic for Order in Chaos is going to be what is difficult and what is easy for each one of us. So we'll both kind of go into that. But let's kick it off with health. Let me start again really quick because I was saying, like, recently I've had some health issues. I've been kind of down and out for the last 2 weeks. You kind of know the story. I just had some issues with my bladder. They had to put a catheter in. If anybody knows what that's all about, you know that it sucks bad. And but it helped. It got me to a point to where I was able to refocus on some stuff. You know, when you have health issues, that's all that was I put in my journal for like the last 2 weeks is, what are you grateful for? And I put good health, you know, because that really, really makes you think or makes you realize the most important. You can't even be a good father. You can't be a good husband. You can't be a good coworker. You can't work on your passion projects. You can't sit down with Joe Pilka and talk about cool shit. You can't do your podcast. You can't go to the gym like I was saying. You can't even walk the dog if you're jacked up health-wise, you know? So that is absolutely the most important thing. And when you get kicked in the junk like this health-wise, it just gives you, you know, that refocus, and it brings it up to the forefront again, and you got to, you know, lock it down. So like you were saying, we were talking about just changing some little shit up. Like, what do you drink? So I used to drink a ton of Gatorade, which had a bunch of sugar in it. It's not that bad for you, but it's got a shit ton of sugar. It's not carbonated, doesn't have any caffeine, nothing like that, but sugar is a killer. So the first thing I thought of when I had this health issue was, I got to stop drinking Gatorade and pounding sugar into my body like that. And then the next thing that hit my mind right away too, which kind of coincides with, you know, our other passion project here that we're working on, or your passion project that I'm just kind of along for the ride on, which has been awesome so far. Honestly, I wasn't expecting it to be that awesome, but it's not to drink anymore. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm done. Like, that's it. No worries. There's no second guessing. There's no thoughts. If my bladder and I'm having issues like that now, drinking booze is like the last thing you want to be doing. You know what I mean? So I made 2 major changes. One of them was no drinking. And I was already kind of committed to that with your program. So the timing was great anyway. And that'll give me a great head start into that transition for the rest of my life. You know, Like you said in here, like I told you, Joel, I read this shit and you were like, you know, one day turns into 1 week, turns into 1 month, turns into, you know, and it snowballs. So you have to change up your whole frame, your whole mindset and everything. So a lot of stuff you can put into perspective too. You know, you have kids, I have kids. You're not necessarily doing it for yourself sometimes. You need to be around for your kids too. You need to be around for your significant other. These people fucking depend on you. You need to be there. So that's kind of what's been going on for the last 2 weeks. I've been reassessing everything, you know, and focusing on health. Getting back to the gym again was huge for me because I had a great run going where I was going to the gym like 6 days a week, you know, doing tons of stuff for months. And then, you know, right around that New Year's resolution thing, I stopped going. And then I show back up to the gym and I'm like, all these New Year's resolution people probably think that I'm just a New Year's resolution person too. And I was like, but I've been here for a month, man.
You're like, no.
You know? Yeah. But that's what it's all about, you know, and I was super excited to get back to running, you know, like that was one of the things I was talking to my doctor about. And I know that you're all about running right now too. So it's a great segue, but
yeah, nice work.
I saw you post that you were every time you run now you're posting, which is awesome, and I love that because it motivates everybody else, or it's just like, man, I'm a slacker, I should go run it.
That's what I'm
So
hoping for, but also it's
it works.
accountability for me too.
It is. That's why Jocko Willing sends his watch picture every day at 4:30 in the morning, showing everybody like, hey, bro, you got to subscribe to him on Twitter or on Instagram, dude.
Don't do Twitter. Okay.
Yeah, or
Okay.
Instagram, and he'll send a picture of his watch every morning at 4:30, saying, "Get after it. I've already got the lead on your ass."
I love it, dude. That's
Jocko Willink, man, you will love
awesome.
it. He's notorious for doing that stuff, and it's the best. You wake up to that and you see that, and you're like, God, I'm a slacker. You know?
Hold on a minute. I'm gonna go back to your health. So I mean, you had a
Yeah.
catheter,
Mm-hmm.
like because I didn't hear from you for a couple days, and I'm not one of those guys. Truly, like when you don't show up an hour late and somebody texts you like, "Oh my God, I was worried," and some people are like that. But it had been a few days you hadn't replied, and I literally text Rachel on Facebook. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Is this kid okay? Like, where is he?" She's like, "No, no, he's fine. I'll let him know to call you. He got your message." I was like, "Oh, no, 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 no. Take your time." But like, I was scared because it's not like you to like, I don't hear from you for a few days. You know what I mean? When I reach out, because we're always
Yep.
just kind of ba 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 ba. And I
Yeah,
was
just
like,
bouncing
holy
ideas off
shit,
each
dude!
other and
Like,
stuff.
where is this
Yeah.
guy? So like, it's pretty serious. Do you want to share like a minute or two about it? Like, is it serious?
Yeah.
Is there something we can learn from like what's going on? Or
For sure. It's just, I mean, honestly, it's like an old age thing, right? We all get older, and as you get older, you have to start thinking that you're that age. A lot of us like to believe that we're still in our late 20s or something, you know what I
oh,
mean?
that's so great. You're so right because we
And
don't feel
that's
it.
all it is. You don't feel it. My body is 40, almost 43 years old, but in my mind, I'm still 22 or 23, you know what I mean? And so you go at it and you do things with that mindset, and as you get older, the price gets heavier or the price gets more expensive, and you pay that price. And then when shit goes wrong, it goes wrong. And then you wind up in the hospital, and then they're sticking a catheter in you, and then they're trying to figure out what's wrong with you, and then they're doing all these tests and throwing all these you know tubes and x-rays and cat scans and all this stuff at you to try to figure out what's wrong with you. But literally it's just old age stuff, like your prostate goes bad, your bladder starts to get weak, you have issues with your vision, not that I do, but like your vision, your hearing, like you start to even physically shrink and shit. So I mean, like, you have to take all that into account, and if you don't check yourself like right at midlife crisis age, like 40ish,
Mm-hmm.
you're you're going to have a lot of bullshit that you're going to have to deal with once you're hitting your 50s and stuff, because that's when it's going to really really hit you hard, and you got to deal with that shit early. And I feel like I got lucky, like it wasn't like cancer of the bladder, or it wasn't anything crazy, where I had to go for prolonged treatments over months, or life threatening or anything like that. But you don't know that while it's going on.
Oh gosh,
And I
yeah.
had to wait 7 days to even hear what was wrong with me. And the guy was saying, obviously, it's a prostate issue. You have, there's a bladder issue. You have a bladder infection from the catheter. That's normal. But he's like, literally, the wall of your bladder is a muscle. And he's like, and if you expand that muscle too much, and it can't constrict, then you're just going to fill up with urine, and eventually you're going to have to get a catheter. So he's like, that's pretty much all that I can find out that happened to you, was you overfilled your bladder, because I had a liter of urine trapped in
Oh
my
gosh,
body.
that's remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, I think you just overextended your bladder. And it was because that night that it went down, I was at a Christmas party, drinking, fucking having a good time, overindulging. And I had like a 45-minute drive home. And you know how booze flies through you, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So, and I wasn't going crazy to where I was like hammered and I couldn't drive, but it was just that long ass drive after having a couple beers, and all of that kind of happening at once. And you're just old and shit doesn't work as good. Then next thing you know, you're in the freaking emergency room. But I tied it back to booze. Like it was one of those things where, you know, if I wasn't doing what I was doing, would that have happened? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have had that much fluid running through me. So I was just like, you know what? It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. There's
And
no
that
way that I could say that it's worth it.
there's no way that was just like it happened that night. It had to have been years.
Yes.
You know what I
Something
mean?
was probably,
So that
leading up to that. Yeah.
leading up to, it's like the seal, on like a gasket or whatever, on the seal,
Yep.
like
Gets weak.
one side
Mm-hmm.
peeling, Dude,
That's
that's so
old age,
crazy.
baby.
It's old age. It's like, I had posted today in my run, I felt like I was so proud of it, because totally from Jordan Peterson, but how he says, there's some parts when he's like, you have to think about, there's 3 yous, but right now you just think about the present you, like what's good for you now, and then think about the future you. If you're doing what's good for you now and what's good for you later, then then that's like the thing you need to like pay attention to, because if it's good for you now and it's good for you then it's going to be the overall good. And we know that, like, we know things are going to catch up with us, and we know we'll make adjustments at some point, but it's helped me to think about the future me now and what he would tell me. Right? Like, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? Well, what would my 60-year-old self tell my 43-year-old self, and then do that?
Well, that's kind of what that future authoring program, or that self-authoring program, that's what that is. He goes through all that.
Don't tell me.
And he basically makes you write a future letter to your current self, where everything went perfect and you made all these good choices, and here's what it's like 10 years from now. Then you have to write a letter to yourself where you fucked up royally, and here's now what you live in. And it's like the shit of the shit. He's like, think absolute worst case scenario, go. And mine was so bad, I can't even read it back without crying my eyes out.
Yeah, because you're a super creative person, and I'm sure you could dream up the hell of all hells.
The hell of all hells, right. And I'm reading this back, and I'm like in fucking tears, like my kids abandoned me, my wife left me.
Don't even. I'm a drug addict.
Yeah, it's, dude, I'm getting the chills thinking about it. But it's like one of those deals where, like, you have to like face the fucking.
Let me ask you this then. Were you afraid to write or say things for fear of self-fulfilling prophecy? Like, were you afraid to go too deep?
No, I actually,
your kids abandoning you is one thing, but your kids maybe expiring is another thing.
No doubt about it. Like, that is definitely one of my deepest fears, is one of my kids dying or something like that, right? Like, I can't even imagine that shit. And I have a friend that's going through it that was on the podcast, and his son, has a limited amount of time just based on the disease that he has. And I can't even imagine what he's going through. And I talk to that dude every day, and I hang out with him all the time. He's one of my fishing buddies, right? We go on trips and shit together all over the United States. And the dude is the most positive, like, nicest fucking dude of all time. And I'm like, how are you like this? And he goes, Jones, don't get me wrong. He goes, when this diagnosis came through and they said my son wouldn't see his 7th birthday, I literally had the fucking vision in my head of taking him down to the river, offing him and offing myself. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, you hear that type of stuff and you're like, what? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I've been through the darkness. I went to the deepest parts of the dark that you can go to when you get this type of diagnosis for your son. He's like, my at the time he was like 4 years old, and they're like, he won't see his 7th birthday. You hear that shit, and where else are you going to go besides the deepest fucking pits of hell?
Yeah. I mean,
but shit like that, like you said, I embraced it though, because I knew that was the point. Yeah. So I embraced it, and I was like, I want to do this right. The only person that's reading this right now is me. So if I'm going to sit here and lie to this piece of paper or on the computer on the screen, then I'm just lying to myself, and it's not going to be worth my time. So let's do this.
Yeah.
I did it right.
Yeah. You have to evoke the emotion, or it's not going to change you.
No.
Totally.
That's why a lot of people wait until they have that health problem, like myself, like even your story, because I read your story on No Booze, and how you had, health issues as well. And maybe it's not an overnight thing. Nobody needs to get me, wrong or confused what I'm saying here. It's a gradual process, but because of that health issue, it just puts that in the forefront, and it's staring you in the face going, now what are you going to do? And some people run from that shit, and they're like, I'm out of here. I'm going to go back to what I was doing and just ignore you. And other people will face that Grim Reaper and stare them right in the face and say, it's not my time. You need to go find something else to do for a while.
That's funny, because that's been something that's helped me. Look at that thing in the background.
What you got?
It's us, like through the window.
Oh, It's all good. I was staring at it when you went to go get a drink.
Oh,
I was like,
it's it sucks because well, no, it's good because that is what helped me overcome anxiety. You know, I think I had mentioned to you
interesting.
back when Jenny was like, have you ever tried just saying, like, she's like, how do you feel? Like, you feel like you're going to die? She's like, what if you just embrace it? What if you're just like, then bring it. If I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
die, then fucking bring it.
Yeah,
And
I'm ready
just
to go.
be ready. And so then I started, and then I had said that a few times, and I had done that a few times, and it helped. And I was like, fine, bring on that anxiety. If I think I'm going to die, then fine, have the heart attack right now. Like, come on.
Yeah.
All right, God, I'm okay with it. Even though I
Bring the fucking
wasn't, and I was
storm in,
scared.
man.
Like, I was
Yeah.
scared, right? You know, it's kind of like Forrest Gump when he goes up the thing and he's like, or Lieutenant Dan, and he just jumps in. He's like, bring it, come on, come on. And then he doesn't
Yeah.
die. And he's like, well, then let's make peace with this, right? And he comes back.
Yeah.
And I just came to that now. And
I love that
that's
stuff.
what it got to me. And it was like, you know what? Then fine. Then come on. And it's like,
Yep.
even though part of me was like, but don't, because I'm
Yeah.
scared, because I'm scared.
Yeah.
But it got me through that. And I think that's such a great way to do it, is just dive head into it. You know, what sucks is with my story is, okay, I had that cancer thing, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
you should have said, I got the diagnosis, and the next weekend we went to a wedding in Tahoe,
Mm-hmm.
and I fucking lost it. I was hammered, and I had been to this casino in Lake Tahoe. It was my favorite place in Tahoe because the only time I ever won, I won like $14,000 that weekend.
Oh,
Gambling.
nice.
I couldn't lose. I
That's
walked up to
awesome.
roulette. I put $100 on Black 13.
Boom.
Boom. I did it again. Boom. I played. I
That's
couldn't
awesome.
lose. And so I was so drunk and out of my mind. And everybody, and it was Jenny's family's wedding, and they knew what had happened, and they're all doctors, and a couple guys sat me down, and they knew I was getting self-destructive. But
Of
then that was
course.
kind of like, kind of the end of it. And then it was leading to the end of it. But I feel bad with my story in this No Boost 30 because I feel like it wasn't easy for me, but I felt like I had such motivation. And some people haven't had that change yet besides,
Yes.
but now that I say it out loud, they have had that change because it's been decades of not fulfilling their dreams or not
Whatever.
living
Yeah.
up to their
Mm-hmm.
potential. And so
Sure.
sometimes I'm like, I feel like if somebody reads it, they're going to make, oh, well, he had cancer and he almost had cancer again and he had his colon taken out. So of course he's
Of
not going to.
course. Yeah.
But it's like, I stopped drinking 5 years before I had my colon taken out,
That's awesome.
And so it's like, I kind of feel like my story is discounted sometimes, and I shouldn't feel that way,
No, I don't think you should either. And I agree
It's
with
like,
you. I think that everybody has had a wake up call or 10, but like a lot of them ignore it until, like I said, until that Grim Reaper walks in the room and is staring you in the face.
or they're in
And like you
jail,
said, or something
get a
crazy like that.
DUI and you're like sitting in the drunk tank and you're like, fuck.
Well, this is the type of things that you're going to write in that self-authoring thing where you're like, yeah, I'm addicted. I lost my job because of, DUI. I'm addicted to, drugs. I have, nobody left. I live in, with a friend in their basement or some shit. You have to like realize that there's potential there unless you do some serious changing and some serious thinking.
I mean,
And if you don't ever think about that shit, of course you can live your whole entire life in ignorance and just continue to be self-destructive, like you said. And one day you're going to die anyway. And a lot of people just are like, okay with that. But like you said, if they just took a couple of minutes to sit down, look in the mirror and say, this is what I want. This is who I am. This is what I need to do in order to get there. Like, just answer those 3 questions and you could probably change your life. But most people won't take that time to sit in front of that mirror because American Idol's on, or they have to do the laundry, or they have to go to Target, or they have to put their kids to bed, or they have to, do some other bullshit for work,
well, then they're
or they
tired.
have to,
yeah.
And then they're like, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow, like you said, turns into next week, turns into next month, turns into 30 years. Then you're 60 years old and you're like, man, I have a ton of regrets. And you're like, why do I have those regrets? Well, because I didn't do all the things that I wanted to do necessarily. And then you can't unwind that. It's already too late at that point. Yeah, you could probably do some of them, like play the piano, or you could, but you're not climbing fucking Mount Everest.
Write a book. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
well, you could. You could.
Could.
You know what I mean?
But I mean,
You
it's a
could.
lot more difficult when you wait until you retire to figure all this shit out.
I
You
mean,
know, I
yeah,
wish I would have figured it out at 30, for Christ's
I
sake.
know. And that's the fucking thing. Like I was running the other day, and which is funny to say. And I was thinking about my buddy who ran the Chicago Marathon, and I was still living in Chicago, and I was probably 30. I was probably, I don't know, 25 or something like that, because I had met Jenny
Sure.
at 26, and I went to support him, and I couldn't find him at the finish line, and I wanted to call him to let him know, did you know that I was there that day? But I never did. Like I think I may have told him, later, um, but I
Oh, so he
thought,
knows though.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
hope, and I thought he may have figured it out then, because he had his goal on the marathon. Like he was setting
Hmm.
these goals, and now I'm setting this marathon goal, and it's like, and this triathlon goal and this Ironman goal, like I'm going to do all this stuff. And it was like, he did it 10 years ago. And I know how hard it is at 43. Think about how hard it'll be at
Hmm.
63 to start
Oh
getting
God.
inside and trying to start jogging with another maybe 15, whatever pounds on you. Speaking about
Right.
health, I'm going to transition to, we had our, and thank you for sharing that stuff. Cause I mean, I think
Yeah, man.
it's great for people to hear, like, I mean, random bladder,
Out of
what,
nowhere.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And luckily it wasn't anything crazy, even more serious. It might sound
exactly.
serious to some, but you know,
I
uh,
got news for you. It's not fun having a gigantic tube jammed into the most sensitive part of your body and then having to, walk around with that thing, because I'm telling you right now, it doesn't sit still, like everything's moving around. So every time I moved, it literally felt like somebody was jamming freaking needles into my family jewels. You know what I mean? It was, or at least for the first 2 days. After then, I got a little bit used to it, but it was not fun. So I mean, like when you have something like that happen to you, you have no choice but to reassess some shit at least.
so would you have to just like empty this bag into the toilet or whatever?
So it was attached like all the way down on my leg here, like because the cable ran all the way down, and the bag was like by my knee here,
Oh,
and
okay.
because it has to be below your junk in order for it to
Sure.
drain
For
right,
it to, yeah, yeah.
So I just took my pants off, and there was a hose with like a clip attachment down here.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I would just put my foot up on the toilet, and I would just clip this hose, and the bag would drain into the bathroom. But it's so weird because the last time I was allowed to piss myself was probably when I was 5 years old. So like the first hurdle you have to overcome with this catheter is like just just pee your pants,
It's like peeing in
just
the
let it go.
pool, or like
Yeah,
when you're in the lake. It's
just
like
let it
kind of
go.
weird at first,
Yeah,
because
you
it's like your
can't do
body
it.
can't
Yeah,
do
you
it.
can't figure it out. Right. So I was just like, stop holding it. You just go. So like it was just really fucking weird. And I'm like, dude, every person that came into my room, they're like, 40 fucking two. You're way too young for this shit. And I'm like, tell
They
me
said
about it,
that
dude.
same shit for me with the colon. They're like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, "You're making me really feel bad. Not feel bad, but like getting even more nervous, because most people are 60 when
Yeah.
they come in with
Yes. Well,
this
he
colon
pointed that
stuff."
he points to this guy out. He's like, most guys are like that. And some guy's walking past with like a fucking walker, and he looked like he was 78. And I'm just like,
Well, that's where I'm headed. Yeah, right.
yeah, I'm like, eh.
No, that's
So what's it?
crazy.
What's the diagnosis, doc?
Yeah.
Like,
You're like, well, what's he
get me
got?
out
I'll
of
go
here.
talk to him
Yeah,
or what? No, but
yeah.
that makes you think about second opinions, because I really didn't get any, because Mayo Clinic was like, and
No, that's the
I
top of
love
the
Mayo
top.
Clinic. I mean, they're the top
Yeah.
of the top, but I didn't really get any. And my buddy back home is a pharma rep, and he's like, hey, there's this guy at University of Chicago that's like the best GI guy. You should fly here. You should get
Sure.
a second opinion. And I didn't, because I was, no, it's too late. I got the surgery in 3 weeks. It's on the books, whatever. And then I say to you that, like, we think, even, and I was at the guy that got that was treating me even for my ulcerative colitis was the
Yeah.
I don't want to say any names, but he's like the
Yeah. Yeah. No
division
worries.
he's like the division chief, like, so to speak. So he's like the
High
head
up
guy of
there.
the
Mm-hmm.
department, and it was like, so I felt comfortable there. But he misses things too, and he's a human
Of course.
being. And so even
Yeah.
though we think we're getting like the best advice, maybe we're not. Like, maybe we should go get 2, 3, 4, 5 opinions.
Oh,
um
for sure. For
and
sure.
I
For sure.
didn't. And could I have kept, my stuff? Maybe, but they scared me. They're like, look, there's no messing around with this. If it goes to cancer, which is the next stage, they're like,
Yeah.
then all these new protocols you're going to have to do. Maybe you have to do radiation. You may have to do
Yeah.
chemo. But if you get it
Chemo.
out of
Yep.
there before it gets there, you won't have to deal with that. And this is what we recommend. So, but I just thought, next time, second opinions, but anyway,
There will be a next time too, man. We're both
you're
still
right.
young, and we're
You're
both going
right.
to have more bullshit that we're going to have to deal with coming down the pipe, especially nowadays with the
Coming down
statistics
the
and all the
pipe.
crap. Yeah, no pun intended. But
It's
yeah, so I
humbling,
think
isn't
that,
it? I
oh,
mean,
dude,
when I look
I've
at
been
this
in the
bag,
hospital too many times in the last year and a half, 2 years, man.
yeah, I feel like I've been hearing that, man. I mean,
4 times I've been in the hospital, at least the emergency room. And one of them was I had really bad flu. Another one was flu again. Another one was I don't even know. We think it's food poisoning. They didn't find anything wrong with me. They ran every test in the book, of course. Maybe I was allergic to something, because usually when I would have this happen to me before, it was an allergy. So I didn't know. So they didn't find it. That was just this past November. And then again, December 21st or whatever it was, I was in there again.
I remember
So
you
it's four
saying that,
times.
about like the flu or something with you, and how, you get into the ED, a couple times a year. What's been interesting, well, I'm not going to talk about it right now. I mean, it's kind of health related, but I think it'll come back down
Sure.
in a little bit. Yeah, man, the health stuff, I think the future you has been helping me make the right decision in the moment. Like the other day when I wanted to stop running at the 3 mile mark and I pushed to 3:75, it was like, what would future Joel tell you, man? He would say, run that extra 7.5, 0.75, like run it, man.
Yeah.
You can do it. You're just getting uncomfortable, and it's 7 o'clock, or it's whatever time it was. It was 6 o'clock, and I know you need to get in the shower and you need to get to work, but like, come on, man. And then I did it, and I said, how proud you will be if you finish
Mm-hmm.
this. And I was so proud of myself. And it was like, I want that. The words of my mom, I remember when I quit baseball in high school because my dad had, just passed. And I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go to college and play ball. We only have a couple months left. Like Menick, I was just like, I'm out. And he's like, are
Mm-hmm.
you sure? My mom's like, don't do this, Joel. She's like, because, you don't want a habit of quitting. And if you start quitting now, you're going to quit. It's going to be a thing. And I was like, no, it's not. This is just a thing. But she was right. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Like, she was right. And it's not, I don't think it's like the act of quitting, but it's like this letting
It's
yourself
hitting the
off the
easy
hook.
button.
It's
Yeah,
hitting
hitting
the
the easy
easy
button.
button. And it's
Yeah.
like not waking up early and then not going to class. And it's easy just to let
Yes.
yourself off the hook,
And then once it goes good too, you're like, oh, that kind of worked. I'll definitely
Wasn't a
use
big
that again
deal.
at some
Yeah,
point.
I
Yeah,
can use
I
that.
didn't hurt nobody. Yeah,
And
no
then
one.
you
I didn't
turn
hurt.
18, 19, 20, and you
Yes.
answer to yourself. And so you're like,
Yes.
well, what do I want to do? I'm going to live my life like this. I'm going to give myself a break. I've been listening to
Yeah.
people for 18 years now. I'm going to do what
I'm
I
gonna
want
do
to
what
do,
I
man.
want. Yep.
But,
Exactly.
well, I'm glad you're feeling
That's a
better,
hard thing.
man.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to overcome though, dude. And that's why, like we talked about like my quote unquote story a while ago, but that's why I started doing Spartan races and shit, was just to put, like I told you on your post, I commented on your Instagram and I said, to put that inner bitch in check,
Yeah,
and then
that's right.
it's just like when your mind is like, yeah, you're good, dude, you're good, just stop. And you're like, no. I know I see. And another thing I was going to tell you about running too is like, I never set a goal. Like I'm never saying I'm going to run 3 miles today. I just start running. And if it's like a shitty day and my knees hurt or something, I'll try to power through it to like 2K. But then if it still hurts, I'll back off and stop. And then I'll just go, cool down and just relax, because I don't want to hurt myself. But
Yeah, but I
if I
think you need to
start
have a
running,
goal though, right? Because you need to know like when you reach the goal. But if you're not, if you have to listen to your body, and if your body's saying like your
yes,
physical, like my knee started hurting when I
yes,
went out, and I was like, okay, this doesn't feel like it's an injury. It just feels like it's gonna tweak out,
discomfort.
it's gonna go
Yeah.
away, and in about a
Yep.
couple minutes it went away. But if
Right. Yeah.
not,
I
I
get
would have
those
backed
too.
down. Like I would
Yes.
have.
I get those too.
But
Yep.
so you don't
I
put a
follow you.
goal on it, like you don't put a 3
No,
on it or a 4 or 5 or whatever mile is going
because
to be.
on good days, I want to do 5. And if I have, and it's kind of like what you said, if I say 3, when I get close to 3, I'm already starting to kind of back it down. You know what I mean?
True.
Like
It's
I'm already starting
true.
to come off of that high, and I'm starting to get ready for the transition from running into cooling down.
You're
So
right.
and I start to like reach to the finish line instead of just keeping the same pace and just running. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, you're so right. I listened to that coach on the Nike Run app, and he's like,
Yeah.
look, he goes, because I did a 5K tonight, and he goes, because I wanted to do three miles, but none of the guided ones said 3 miles. It just said 5K. I was like, fine.
That's why I use Ks too.
Yeah, I'm like, let's do a 5K. And so I did it, and he's like, hey, you're in the third quarter right now, because I was like 2K in or something like that. And he's like, you're in the third quarter right now, and a lot of people like black out, they zone out, and they just kind of like sit into it, and they're not paying attention, and they kind of coast through, which is, I get it if you're just like, but he's like, pay attention. He's like, don't do that. Focus on your, just focus on your posture or something, which makes
breathing.
Which makes me realize I don't even know if I know how to run.
No, I that was one of the first things.
Am I pumping? Do I relax? I literally don't know.
Terrific fucking question, or a terrific comment, because I know for a fact that I don't know how to run correctly. And I looked it up, and there's this thing, what the hell is it called? I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's this running style where I tried it out, and it works, where they teach you how to rerun, and it's about leaning forward.
Yeah.
What the hell is it called? It's a method, like the blank running method.
Okay.
God. But anyway, like I said, so you're actually using gravity to pull you forward, and you're just moving your legs in order to stay up.
So you don't fall.
You're not using your legs.
Yeah.
You're leaning into it and allowing gravity to pull you forward. That's the best way I can explain it. And you never heel strike. You always go from toe to toe to toe. That's why they say like zero drop shoes are the best you can wear for running, because they force you up on your toes. When you wear like Nike running shoes and shit, even my running shoes, there's a gigantic drop. So like my foot in the shoe is sitting like this, and this is all material.
Yeah.
So I'm actually up. But what that does is it creates a perfect spot for you to heel strike because of all that padding. Yeah. And then you roll your foot forward when you run. That's not right. You're supposed to run toe to toe to toe. Like every runner always runs on their toes, like you see in the Olympics.
Jogging, that's when you're sprinting though, right?
Even joggers. And you know what? I could probably find that running method, but that's what that running method was saying too.
Well, why don't we put a clip in the show notes after?
For sure. I'll find it afterwards. Yeah.
Okay. Because it's funny because I'm like, at the end of it, he's like, okay, you got 800 meters left. He's like, I want you to push, but here's how we're going to do it. He's like, each like 200 meters, I'm going to give you something else to focus on. So the first one is like, focus on your breath. And the next one is like, then he was like something about posture. And he said, just lean a little bit forward. So I started leaning a bit forward. And I don't know if my hips are supposed to be like underneath me, but when I push my butt out a little bit and I lean forward, it's like all of a sudden you're just like,
you're just on autopilot. That's just like exactly what I'm talking about.
But then I started like, okay. And then he's like, use your arms. He's like, so I started pumping. I was like, oh my God, there's this whole other like mechanism that can propel me and kind of give my legs a break a little bit.
Yes.
But I know in my mind from all my rollerblading days, if I can just put my legs on lock and I can relax enough to breathe and stay at a tempo, I could go for days.
For days. Exactly. That's exactly what I do on the treadmill at the gym. Is I just hit start, and then I'll pick up the pace too. So like I'll start at like 5 miles an hour, and then I'll gradually pick it up to like 6.5 miles an hour.
Nice.
And like you said, by that time I can like look around. I'm not even breathing heavy anymore. I'm looking around. There's like a bunch of TVs up here. There's like a basketball court thing going on over here. I'm listening to a podcast or something, and it's like I'm good to go. Like it's no worries. I can just keep running. And then eventually I'll hit my phone, because I'll have my phone in front of me, and I'll hit the screen and just see what time it is, and I'll go, oh shit, I got to stop, and I don't care where I'm at. I'll just be like, hey, I'm good to go. What did I run? 3K, 3.5K? Good. Perfect. Okay. So as long as it's more than 2, So then I'm good to go. I turn my shit off. I clean the machine up, and I start cooling down and doing stuff like that, like stretching and everything.
Yeah.
And then the next day I might run half that, and like just a little bit over 2K, or something along those lines. But I usually don't run back-to-back days. Like I'll do kettlebells, I'll do an off day where I just stretch and hit the hot tub, the steam room. I'll walk too, because kettlebells usually kick my ass to where I'm really sore.
Yeah.
and just do something easy. Then the next day I'll run again, so I'll have like at least 2 or 3 running days a week, I would say.
Yeah,
And
good.
then I'll have one kettlebell day, one recovery day, and then one day where like Rachel will get to call, like, she has this app that she's using, the Peloton
Oh,
bike and all
Jenny,
that
yeah,
shit,
Jenny's using that right now. Yeah.
the Peloton app. So she
Oh,
uses that and she'll be like, hey, let's do this yoga one, or let's do this
yeah.
meditation one. They have a meditation thing there. And
That's
I
what
was
she
like,
was
for
telling
sure.
me.
I haven't done the meditation one
Me
yet, but she
neither.
showed it to me and I'm like, dude, I definitely want to check that out because ironically enough, your day 7 or 8, I can't remember which one it was. I think it's 8. Yeah, 8 was meditation, right?
Well, see, here's the thing. When did you print that?
I printed it off the one that you sent me right as the thing started.
Oh, so like let me see it. So, whoa.
So this one's day 8
Oh, yeah,
emotion.
okay, you got it. Yeah. You
Yeah,
got it. Okay.
yeah, and then you talk about,
I
I
talk
think it
about
was in
lizard
here.
brain probably, and
Yeah,
like,
or maybe it was on the next page, the exercise. Yeah,
yeah, it's
on
the
the exercise
exercise.
is meditation.
Yeah.
So for real, and what's funny is the way you explained meditation in that page is exactly how I explain meditation to everybody else. I
Nice.
say, you pretty much just sit there and there's going to be a shit ton of noise. And this is going to be super hard for you. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is not fucking easy. And it's going to take weeks. It's not going to happen in a week or a couple days. This is going to take weeks, if not months. And you're going to close your eyes and there's going to be so much fucking noise. Like, you got this meeting in an hour. You got to go pick up the kids after that. Then you have to go to the grocery store because we need to get these bratwursts to make dinner at 5. Then after 5 o'clock, I'm going to go run for a little bit. And there's going to be like, blah, 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 blah. You're going to have all this noise jumping into your head. And all you have to do is just quiet it down and just say, okay, and then turn it all down like fucking a volume slider. And I always tell people, the first thing that you need to do in order to turn the noise down is focus on a single white dot. In your visual plane with your eyes closed, there's going to be so much shit that's going on. I just want you to focus and see the single white dot. There's a single white dot in the middle of your vision field in this black abyss when you have your eyes closed and
Yeah.
you're conscious. Find the dot. The dot will start to drift off into the corners.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to want to chase it with your eyes, but don't chase it. Let it go. It'll always come back to the middle. Once you can center
Nice.
that dot without it moving, then things will start to enter your mind one at a time. Like, I'm hungry, or I'm uncomfortable. It'll usually be some sort of complaint,
Mm.
and then you just have to go, okay, I'm hungry. Okay, I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But don't move.
Yeah.
Don't acquiesce to that complaint and get up
Don't
and get a
start thinking
snack.
about what you're going to eat or what. Yeah.
Yes, just let it go. Just let it drift off from right to left, left to right, top to bottom. However the message is, for me, it comes in on my right-hand side and goes out the left-hand side. That's how it works for me. Never top down, never left to right. It's always right to left. I don't know why. There's probably some significance there. But like I said, the white dot is my first move. Sometimes the white dot will turn into a flashlight. Sometimes it'll turn into a baseball. Sometimes it'll
Wow.
turn into a snowball. Sometimes it'll turn into, objects. And at
Wow.
that point, I just have to say, oh, it's a baseball. But that's it. You can't say anything else about it. Just identify it and then watch it morph into something else, or watch it move, and then don't track it. Because if you try to track it, it runs faster away from you.
Yeah.
And then you get distracted and you lose your spot. But I explain meditation the same way to people: is it's turning off all the noise, and then the important shit will find its way back through, and then you can actually go, okay, these 3 things are the important things that I got out of my meditation session. Then you're conscious again, like we are now, and then you say, oh, why did that hunger thing come in here? And it could be something simple as just flesh maintenance. I'm fucking hungry. Or it
Yeah.
could be something like something deeper rooted. And if you think about something like you said, something really bad, like your child dying, or like something like you getting a cancer or something like that, maybe there's some significance there that you need to mine. So you just write those themes down, then you can deep think about those things. It's so fucking awesome. And I don't do it enough. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's like, I want to do it more, but I don't know why I don't do it more. I should do it every day and make like put it on schedule, but then it almost feels forced to me. I don't know.
No,
I
it's
don't know.
not. And you know what? If you like, so I use it as almost a nap time. It's my nap time. And I almost have it where it's like, it seems to be about 2 o'clock in my day. And we have wellness rooms at work where they have little
Nice.
recliners, and you lock the door and you turn the lights off and they're fucking
Oh,
ice
dude,
cold.
that's awesome.
And I kick back in the recliner. I go 20 minutes on my timer, and
Yeah, I set a timer too.
I hit my
Yep.
and I usually do a guided meditation that only guides you for like the first 5 minutes. And then it's just like, ambient music. But,
Hmm.
um, but for some reason at 2 o'clock, it fits my day. And then I can jam from like 2:30 to 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
5:30 at work, and then come home and be good. And it gives me, and so sometimes I nap, sometimes I don't. And I think that's why I want to add I didn't realize till we were on just doing this, that I'm going to add a second one, because first of all, you should be napping every day. So just do it around your nap time.
Hmm.
If you do nap, but now I want it because I do nap a lot of times during that time.
Hmm.
And I still want a meditation and a nap. And so
Yeah.
now I see why Seinfeld and these guys that do transcendental, which I
Yeah.
can't stand, that you have to like pay somebody to teach you,
Yeah. It's so
drives
weird.
me
I was
insane.
I was looking
Oh,
into it too, and I couldn't understand what the
you
deal
have to
was. But
go
go
to
on,
some
keep going.
class. And so
Yeah.
now I see, I think maybe why they do it in the morning, because people have told me if you do 20 minutes, 2 20-minute sessions, you really see the benefit. And I bet it's because early in the day, right when they wake up and they do the meditation,
Just
that's
writing shit down.
meditation. But I bet the second one is more of a nap. And I bet you they come to the conclusion that they're not getting a full meditation benefit because they are napping a lot of times in the afternoon. Because he'll say, yeah, I meditate twice a day and my energy is amazing. Well, it's because the second time you have to be napping. He has to be. He's 20 years older than I am. If I'm
Yeah,
tired, he's tired. And
for
I have
sure.
pretty good energy. So it's like, so I'm going to start implementing that. I get super creative in my meditations, man. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? The ideas are flowing that I just am like, this is just going to be a creativity meditation. And I go
Hmm.
with it. I go down the
Yeah.
rabbit holes, and then
Well,
I'll
right.
get,
You can't block either. That
you
doesn't
can't,
work either.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can't block. And so like, I wanted to touch on what you said, because you let it come in. Hey, I'm hungry. Okay, I'll deal with it later, or I'm hungry, or whatever. And you allow it to go. Sometimes
Yep.
you catch yourself down that rabbit hole, and then you put, wait, and you pull
Right. You'll
yourself back
follow it.
out.
Your eyes will literally follow it.
That's so
Yeah.
funny that you say that. It's like the squiggly line.
Yeah.
Squiggly
But
line when
your
you
eyes
go,
are
it's
not
like,
really moving. Yeah.
you know,
It's like one of those deals, but in your mind, you're following this thing. And it's almost like you said, it almost goes down. And you're like trying to look to see like what does that mean?
it's
And you're like, no, no,
crazy.
no, you're losing that.
I had never seen it before until I love that you walked me through it. And then all of a sudden I could like see that when I look forward, there's like these two white lines like pointing
Yep.
in, and I could
Yeah.
see this focus. And then it did start going like this. And I was like, oh,
Yes.
and then you were calling it. That was really cool. I'm going to use that. I've thought about that. So a lot of times I'll let my eyes go back, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
pull this back, but I let my eyes go back. But I know if I purposely try to look straight ahead with my eyes closed, it does center me.
Yep.
It does center me, and I've done that. I've tested with that before, but
That's why I do the white dot to start. It's
that's
just to
really
center
cool.
myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really good idea. I
Yep.
started 5 minutes at a time, sitting
Same
Indian
with me.
style
Probably two.
in
Yeah.
front of a picture window with no music. I was living in Nebraska, just quiet,
That's
and it
awesome.
got to the point where literally, and it's still to this day, I like know when the alarm is going to go off. Even though,
Yeah. Yeah.
even if I'm like not even thinking about time, I'm like, oh, it's gonna
Yep.
go off any second. And you look and it's like 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. I'm
Crazy
usually
that your
within
body
20
knows that.
seconds.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about
I'm
20
usually within
seconds.
20
Now
seconds. Yeah.
sometimes I'm off, but like the majority of the time, my body knows. Like
Oh yeah. It's
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 like
super
knows.
weird. And I
But
think that there's a lot more to that than you think too, because I think your body and like your energy is a lot more in tune than you think. You know
see,
what I mean?
I've been Payne loves the ocean, and he loves the sharks and all that stuff. And we were
Sure.
watching a bunch of sharks, and how they of the electro thing that the sharks
Yeah.
do, and the dolphins, and
Mm-hmm.
how they all talk,
Yeah.
and like all that stuff. Like we have to have some of that stuff,
Oh,
the
100%.
intuition and the energy and all that. You know what I thought today was, I don't believe I didn't think of this before, but you know how we find dinosaur fossils, right?
Yep.
And under all this dirt, and then they'll find civilizations under like 30 feet of like soot,
Sure.
right, or dirt or whatever.
even
which,
crazier, like 130 or
yeah,
something. Yeah.
which is funny to me because how come that's not still happening? If anything, everything's eroding, which is kind of strange.
Yeah.
But think about the crazy shit in the ocean under thousands of feet of
Feet of
crap
water.
that we have
Yeah.
on the bottom of the ocean, under the bottom of the dirt in the ocean that we've never even seen
Well,
because
right.
it's dead, because the
Yeah.
fossils like under the ocean of
Yeah,
shit
there's probably wild shit
that
down
went
there.
extinct
A
millions of years
million,
ago.
yeah, a million years
And
ago.
just
Yeah.
because it's not swimming around, we didn't even know about it. So it's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I
man.
never thought about that. All those animals that have lived one day and died under the ocean
Or what
on
if
the
that was
floor.
land at one point too? You know, that could have been
Sure.
land at one point. There's a ton of stuff that you can go down that rabbit hole hardcore.
Yeah, I just thought about that when I was like, Jenny, oh my God, I just thought of something. But I know that was off topic. So
No worries. Though. That was good stuff. We were talking about meditation, which is did we talk about meditation when we were doing those rules?
I don't know. You may have brought it up, and I threw the rules thing out there right off the cuff, and I don't have my notebook with me, and I don't want to go chase it. I don't want to go
Yeah, it's
chase
all
it.
good. Let's
Because
just keep talking about meditation for a little bit longer then, and that'll be our number 2.
okay, that works.
Yeah,
But
because that's the day of no booze, so it's kind of tying in the no booze. It's super important because, like you said, it kind of ties into what I was talking about too when I showed you this book earlier.
yeah.
Just because Jung is all about the conscious and the unconscious,
So
and
what's the book for
it's
everybody?
called A Man and His Symbols by Carl Jung, and it's just about dream interpretation. A lot of his stuff is dream interpretation, just like Freud was too, and they talk about how important it is for you to deal with your consciousness and your unconscious, and kind of maturity is the melding of both of those. So accepting your unconscious and knowing your conscious, and in kind of meshing the two together, because a lot of people are all about facts, and like I went to school, I know math, I've read books, I go to work. I don't have time to be reading dream journals and trying to interpret why I was running in place in a dream. That's just a dream. It doesn't mean shit. Or witches and wizards and all that mysticism and pagan shit from the past, that didn't mean shit. That was just people that didn't understand because there was no science back then. If they had science back then, they wouldn't have been fucking sacrificing rabbits to the gods and shit. They're just stupid. But maybe they weren't. Maybe there was something else there that we completely lost and we've completely forgotten. And it ties into what you were just saying with the energy, or with like just the past in general, finding old shit like you were saying, recognizing that there was something to that. These people held it like in such high regard. It was their god for a lot of these cultures and civilizations, and they were willing to do crazy shit. Like in some cultures, people would be like, yeah, no worries, man, you can sacrifice me for the betterment of the entire village, I'll do it. And it was no big deal, and they were actually like proud to be that person. So they'd go up and get their heads fucking cut off so that they could appease this energy. Whatever they wanted to explain it, and how they wrote it down was whatever it was. But I mean, like, it was that crazy important that people were like willing to be like, yeah, no problem, you can kill me, that's cool.
Yeah, that's
That's
insane.
nuts. There's something to that. That's not just some like Charles Manson shit. That's not just like David Koresh shit. That's like another level. There's something else going on there, or they know something,
Yeah,
and we've completely got science. If 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4, and I can't see it, in molecular biological terms, then it's fucking stupid.
well, dude, that's like, yeah, you're right. Two things. For one, okay, before I go to the second point, was like the sacrifice and stuff like that. Somebody was
Mm-hmm.
actually telling me at work today that there's the library at Alexandria that like burned down like
Yeah.
however long ago, like
Yep.
set us back like 1,000 years because of all
Yeah,
the
that's what they say at
information that was
Disney.
like in there.
Yeah.
Really, she was telling me at work this, and that like kind of blew my mind, and
Oh yeah, big
like
time.
that. But then we, you start talking about sacrifice. So when we went to the Grand Canyon, we stopped along the side of the road. There's Montezuma's castle.
Sure.
And what it is, I've always wanted to see one of these. And it's not like the elaborate, like, how there's like those cities built like into the wall where you see like those Pueblo cities where it's like it's like a civilization that like in the side of a mountain, they like carved like a,
Yes.
like a building, right?
Yep.
So there's one of those, and it was like 40 rooms, and it was this farming community. And so it was like this wall, and the people lived up there, and they had these big ladders that they had to climb up to build it and to live up there. And I thought, oh shit, whoever was selling ladders made a fortune back then. That was my joke. And but they lived up in the wall, and down below was the farmland, and it was kind of like, you know, you could see it was marshy, so whatever. And they lived up in the wall. And I just turned to my buddy, and there was like a mock-up, and it had like, you know, little figurines like standing up, and they said, this is what it probably would have looked like with the people actually in it. And I thought, yeah, there was a little guy and like a kid up there, and I was like, yeah, and they would sacrifice people right off the top of that cliff.
Yes, guaranteed.
Like, throw them off, you know?
Otherwise, their shit would grow and they'd all starve, dude, because they've already played that game. You know what I mean?
They played that game, right?
Yeah, and every time they've made the proper sacrifices. But, you know, in this book, like I said, a lot of the times he says that some of those sacrifices might not have been actual sacrifices, but almost like man and his symbols. Like I said, that's the name of the book. It's almost symbolic of you sacrificing like your dependence on your parents, sacrificing your immaturity, sacrificing your addiction to the unconscious. Because like when you're a child, it's all fucking Alice in Wonderland. You know, you can play with little action figures like you were saying, and it's fucking real as could be. And, you know, like when you read books and you're, you know, playing with your friends, you're pretending like I'm a stormtrooper, and your buddy's like, I'm Luke Skywalker. And you guys are clashing sticks together like they're lightsabers. You're 100% living a dream, or like tripping. That's living the unconscious. But in order for you to mature and become a quote unquote adult, or just at least, you know, functioning in society, you have to let go of some of that unconscious and start to realize the conscience. So like, or the conscious, not conscience, conscious. And that's just like I said, you have to then, you know, realize that math does exist. You have to realize that science does exist. You have to realize that we are, you know, you can die. I can kill somebody else, and there's repercussions for that. So you have to learn all this concrete shit, which is your conscious you know, behavior, conscious, you know, living day to day, walking around, not hurting people, not hurting yourself. You have to respect that. But at the same time, you have to then tie back in some of that imagination, some of that unreal stuff, dream interpretation, because even little things like that will lead you to a bigger and like a bigger picture view of your entire life, rather than just, I go to work 9 to 5, I go home and I do this, and this is my schedule, this is the clock, this is how it all works. You'll get stuck in that rut and
that
you'll
gets
die.
Depressing. I know.
Right, exactly. And a lot of people are stuck in that because they're unwilling to do something like this. A lot of people would probably say right now, we're wasting our fucking time. We're just talking to a screen, and we're talking to each other. Who the hell's going to listen to this? Who's going to give a shit about this? Do you guys really want us to waste all this time? You could be doing something else with this anyway. You could be watching American Idol, Joel. But you know what? That's not what you need to do in order to fulfill your life, man. Because
move to the next level.
Yeah,
there's no
exactly.
There are levels,
dude. What was that quote? That's a great fucking quote. Because I just read something and I bookmarked it, and it was by somebody super fucking important.
Can I talk while you're looking or no?
Yes.
Dude, and this, let me tell you that I just learned that from No Booze 30. So
there you go.
I know that No Booze 30 can help people, but I still didn't realize, I didn't know if people would show up. And we have over 200 and some people in that program. And
Are you serious?
If you're, I don't know if you're in the private Facebook group, but
no, I don't have Facebook anymore. Remember, I ditched that shit.
Oh my God, dude, you almost need it for this, but I won't ask you to do that.
I'll check out. I'll have Rachel get in there and I'll check hers out.
Please do, because people are in there regulating the group. I thought I would have to be the one facilitating.
Yeah.
People are just self-regulating, and they're sharing, and they're in it, and they're excited. There's some guy is like, I'm day 8, and he took a picture at the ocean. He's like, this program has changed my life. I'm so excited.
Shut up.
And I'm like, so yeah, people will think you're wasting your time. Just like I was like, I don't know if people will even show up, and they're showing up and they're pouring their hearts into it. And it's like, so, you know, and it blows me away. And it's not me. It's because they have, well, some of it might be me, and I want to be okay with that. But like people will do it. And it does matter. And this does matter. And
It
this is
does.
valuable to
Yes.
somebody. And people will watch. And thank you for
Oh,
watching if you're
100%,
watching.
dude.
And it's like, I'll
Yeah.
watch their stuff because that's what we do. And
Of course. Yeah.
but
Support,
it's hard
support,
to
support across
believe
the
that
board.
people will, it's hard to, without ever doing it first, because you'll say, oh, if I just talk to a screen, nobody's going to watch it. No, people will watch it. Your story will resonate with somebody, and they will find comfort in hearing that you are going through similar stuff.
Yeah, good or bad. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad.
It doesn't have to be good or bad. Like, that's why I've been, if you notice my posts lately, I'm like, I say, I'm so proud of myself. I am so proud that I didn't quit. I'm so proud that I ran again, because I am, and I don't want to be afraid of telling people I'm proud of myself and I'm happy where I'm headed, because so many times
your actions are predicating that response.
That
like
feeling.
Without the action, you wouldn't be saying that. So
You're
like,
right.
I think everyone needs to realize that you can plan till you're blue in the face, you can talk till you're blue in the face, but until you start, the action, like that dude taking the selfie on the beach, he's not just going through the motions, he's literally doing what you're saying, because in that book or in your guide here, it says, take that time and take that energy that you used to spend drinking and go do something fucking epic. And that's what that dude did. So he's listening. He's actually putting your words into action. That's why it works. That's people have to do the action. The action is the important part.
And the action is what creates that feeling. You're right. Because otherwise he wouldn't post, I'm changing my life, or I wouldn't post, I'm proud of myself, because I wouldn't have anything to be proud of. There's plenty to be proud of. But in the moment,
to be proud of,
you can't say, oh, I'm proud I graduated college, however long ago that was. Truthfully, it was only a few years ago because I finally did it. But
still,
but it's like we don't say that. In fact, I would be scared to say, hey, look, I just graduated. In fact, I am going to find my diploma, and I'm going to do one of those posts, because it was just like a year or two ago that I finally finished it. But it was
it's never too late. Never give up.
Never give up. I mean, it was 30. It was 30 grand in debt I probably shouldn't have taken.
I'm there too, bro. Yeah. But I'm just about done with it. I got about 4,800 left or so, but I had about 30, I think it was 33, maybe something like that. $33,000.
Yeah.
Of debt
That's
too.
About right where I'm at. And it was like, sometimes, but that was for me. I needed that. It was for my mom.
Oh, I did too. Well, my mom told me to F off after I failed out of Harper. And she's like, I told you I'd pay for it. But if you shit the bed like this, you're on your own now. If you want to go back to school, it's on your dime. And I'm like, okay. So then I went and got a job at, a distribution for Miller for beer. Yeah. And I worked the night shift and shit, broke your back. Yeah. So I mean, like, just that, those types of things though, put it back into perspective. I'm like, by all means, I'll take on $33,000 worth of fucking debt, because it's either that or me trying to work, some sort of labor job, which now I can't do. And I'm going to be fucking crippled by 45. I'm not doing that.
Would you do that to your child? Would you say what your mom said to you?
Well, she needed to. She needed to. That was the right move. And I would do that. I would definitely do that. And that's
if it was the right move.
Well, it always is, because in this book, they explain a lot of shit about how parents F their kids up royally by overprotecting them, by not allowing them to make mistakes, by doing things that you don't think are harmful, but they're super fucking harmful. Like, I mean, even getting your kid like a drink, like saying, hey, Payne, you want something to drink, buddy? And he says yes, and you get it for him. Now he's 9 years old, and you say, hey, Payne, you want something to drink, buddy? He says yes, and you continue to get that drink for him. That doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot. You tell him, all right, hey, buddy, come up here. I'm going to teach you how to do this. So you can do it by yourself from now on. You can reach the drinks and open the fridge and stuff. And they might even resist, because they love the luxury of being waited on like kings and queens. All kids do, regardless if they tell you or not. And they'll resist when you try to start changing stuff on them a little bit. Like what we're doing right now with Kat is we're having her do her own laundry. She's 12 years old. We have them do everything. Like, I'll have Dakota check out. She's 8. I have her check out when we go to every single store. She runs the credit card. She does all of it.
Hold on a minute.
But you could do that. And every other parent does. I see them. But I tell Dakota, here's the credit card. Figure it out. If you have any questions, let me know.
No, that's so smart. And I think that's the one thing too. It's not, hey, go figure it out. What it is, go figure it out. But it's also like, if you have a question, I'm here.
I'm right here. Yeah.
And in the beginning, it's like, let's go do it. I'll be here. and then I can watch. If you have a
Yep.
question, then you ask. I don't need to be like, no, you're doing, because I know sometimes Jenny and
Yeah,
I,
don't
and
jump
I've
in.
backed off of it a lot of times. I'll be like, oh, well, and you'll grab it. And it's like, no, even if it's like the other day, he was trying to get his
Yes.
zipper on the coat. He's like, I got
Yes.
it, Dad, I got it. And he wasn't holding it right. And I could tell it wasn't going to clip because, you know, the coat was like
Yep.
over the zipper, and he's only
Yep.
4. And I let him go. I let him go. And then there's this grit part where I wanted to try. And I appreciate actually how long he does try before he's like, Dad, I can
Yes.
do it. I'm like, you can. It's just, this one's a little tricky.
Reset.
You want me to get
You
it
give him a
started?
little advice.
And after a little bit, then I'll keep his hands, and then at some point, okay, you know, but sometimes he gets it. And sometimes
Oh, yeah.
I do let him struggle. But and I'll say, like, let's do it together. Let's try. And you know what? I think I'm going to bring him more, because like I made egg cups. His favorite's egg cups. So I Ninja 12 eggs, a little bit of milk, and I put them in the tin and muffin tin, you know?
Yep.
And now he comes up, and for the last 5 or 6 muffin tins, he cracks all the eggs into the thing.
There you go.
He cracks them and he throws them in, and
just get him involved. Yeah.
And sometimes he's like, and it's taking, and I don't even say, sometimes I'll say,
But
hey,
think
maybe
of how many
try a little bit
times
harder.
some
Maybe
other parents would
try a
get
little bit
frustrated
harder.
about that
Oh,
shit.
Yeah. They're like, just give me the
You know?
egg. Or they let him do, I let him do all 12 eggs, and it takes a while, but he loves it. And I'm right there with them. And then if it's wrong, then I give him an idea on technique. I'm like, you might want to, the first one, maybe try to go a little bit harder. You could poke your thumb in or whatever. See, that one got shells in there. So what was, you know, but we could talk about that.
That's the right way.
So you said kids earlier, and somehow I forgot, because I know Dakota, and then Kat, and Kat's YouTube, but Dakota's, and so when you
both
said kids,
have all
like,
that stuff.
He's got 2 kids. And then I was like,
well, Kat is Rachel's daughter, and Dakota is mine, but we kind of Brady bunch it.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's all because of the stuff that I've been reading, especially, you know, I did it before I read some of these books anyway, just because I knew the importance of making your kid. You don't protect your kids by preventing them from being hurt or made fun of, or you don't prevent them from putting themselves into danger. You don't protect them by preventing them, you know, from putting themselves into dangerous positions or dangerous scenarios or anything like that. That's not how you protect your kids. But
like,
that's not how you protect them.
I can't let him walk up on the fucking, you know, on the back of the couch.
No,
you know, when he's 3.5,
don't.
because he's going to crack his head, and then
you have to set boundaries for sure. Yeah. But what I'm saying is a little bit different.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, you protect your kids by arming them with experience and knowledge and the ability to be independent, successful, powerful, confident, and healthy. That's how you protect your kids. You don't protect them by keeping them and sheltering them from everything. Yeah. And that's what a lot of parents do.
No.
And then when these kids get into college and shit, or when they get into the real world, they still expect to be waited on hand and foot. They expect to be treated like they're the prince, like their mom and dad have been telling them for their entire life. They still expect all that. Their expectations are through the fucking roof because they've never been given the opportunity to become independent, self-sufficient, their own boss, and all of that. Because if they understood what that meant, then their expectations would be in check, and they would understand, somebody else's point of view as well. They would be able to put themselves in somebody else's shoes. You can't do that if you just protect your kids and keep them safe. That's the wrong way. And there's so many helicopter parents. It's like sexy these days to be a helicopter parent. Think about what me and you did back in the day when we were growing up. Obviously we didn't have social media and some of the stuff that they have these days, or like the phone and whatever else. But I mean, you went out and you made mistakes. You effed up. You got into trouble. You felt that embarrassment and that shame. And that's what molded your decision making and you as a person going forward. If you never feel that, and your parents are always there to tell you everything's going to be okay, you're never going to grow. You're never going to emotionally grow. You have to feel that disappointment. There has to be winners and losers. You have to be on the losing team sometimes, because that's the only way you're going to work harder to be on the winning team next time. If everybody gets trophies, who the hell wants to work hard?
No, I know. No, that's interesting, dude. Solid point. And it's without somebody telling you that, without doing your own research to realize that that's what
Right.
kids need, it's hard to
You think you're
come
doing
up
the
with
right
that. You
thing.
think you're doing
Yeah.
it. And I've noticed like how I'm extremely enabling. Well, I was,
Sure.
because I thought I was like doing the right thing. And now there is to a
Yes.
certain degree, like, I mean,
Like
granted,
I
he
said,
just turned
boundaries. Yeah.
4. So
Yes.
you
Yes.
have to
Yes.
then
It's age
ease into
related.
it. It's
Yeah.
age related. And so you have to, at that age, what's appropriate for that age. Like Shane
Yes.
sets the table, he sets the
Yeah. You
table
don't
for
take him
dinner.
to a gun range, dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. But he does. He has his thing where he sets the table and he loves to set the table and like,
Yes.
you know,
Little stuff like that,
little
man.
stuff like that. One
Yeah.
thing that we're kind of broke
But
it.
that's huge.
It is huge. One thing we broke a habit of is we say grace before the meal. And he's like,
Sure.
and Jenny taught him head, heart, shoulder, shoulder. So he does it head, heart, shoulder, shoulder. He's like, this is first, here's a good, and he goes real fast. I'm like,
Speeds through
so,
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jenny and I slow down and, I don't now. I just close my eyes and I don't make eye contact with him. And so we put it, and I'll hear him. He'll be, and then he'll start slowing down because we're not engaging him when he's doing it fast. And then he'll be, and then he slows down and gets in the pocket with us. You know what I mean? Because we know, like, this is just a minute that we take to pause and say thank you.
But you let him figure it out.
But we let him figure it out. We didn't say not so fast. We used to say not so fast. So now we just show by example. Like this is how we do it, and then he.
Yes.
Action, not every time. But a lot of times he does. So
yes, he's going to see you running and fall in love with running, and he's going to want to do it too. He's going to see you talking to people and trying to make a difference in their lives, and he's going to want to do that too. If he sees you drinking beers, he's going to want to do that too. If he sees you sitting on the couch watching American Idol every night when you get home from school or from work, he's going to do the same thing.
Right. You're right.
I'm telling you, like it's that easy. It's that basic. It's that simple, bro. I mean, that's all you got to know. Is whatever you do, your kids will see, and they will emulate in some fashion, and then their kids will do the same thing. So I always tell Dakota, I'm like, look, I'm going to tell you the truth about everything. I won't lie to you, because if I lie to you and you find out, that's going to damage our trust, and that's what our relationship is based on. So I'm going to tell you some shit that's scary, and that's probably not that age appropriate for you, but only in context. I'm not going to just bring it up to scare the shit out of you and instill fear. But if something happens, like you're getting bullied at school, or, I'll explain to you, hey, the reason why you're getting bullied is because this person is probably dealing with something that is very, very difficult for them to comprehend. They might have problems at home. They might have problems with a sibling. They might have problems just themselves, and they're just not figuring it out, and they're depressed or sad, and they're taking it out on you. So you have to understand these types of things. It's not as simple as just getting the bully in trouble with the teacher. This person is dealing with something that we might not even know about. Yeah. So the first thing I need you to do is just give them room. I'm like, you don't have to engage with the bully. And if the bully wants to engage with you, remove yourself from the situation as much as you can. I'm like, try to do some little things rather than engaging with this bully. Then you both run and tell, the teacher that you guys are, fighting with each other, and then it just persists the next day at recess. You have to outthink your problems. You have to outsmart these issues. And I know you're 8 and you don't have enough experience to figure some of this stuff out, but I need you to try, and you're going to make mistakes, and mistakes are the best thing you can have happen, because that's when you learn the most. If shit just works out for you all the time, you're going to think that you're perfect, and you're going to think you're going to get narcissistic. So you need to literally make mistakes, and you have to learn from them. It doesn't do you any good if you make them and don't learn. And I see you do both. You'll learn sometimes, and sometimes you'll repeat those mistakes. But what I need you to do is remember that learning from your mistakes is the most important thing you can do in this world, Dakota. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, and make yourself uncomfortable sometimes. Do some things that challenge you that you're not good at, because you might find a diamond in the rough. You might find something that you are extremely good at. I'm like, be patient. I'm like, a lot of times what you don't understand is, I told her this today. She's like, why does mom always tell me, come on, Dakota, we got to go to school. Come on, Dakota, we got to go to dance. Come on, Dakota, we got to get this done. Come on, Dakota, I got to do this. I'm like, here's why that happens, Dakota. It's because when you're a little kid, time works different than when you're an adult. Oh, I'm like, when you're an adult, time goes by so fast. I'm like, it goes by so fast. You're constantly going from one thing to the next, constantly. And you have a schedule, and it has to be on point because you have to be at A, B, and C at certain times, and shit is just moving fast. I'm like, when you're a kid, a day feels like a week. I'm like, it feels like you have so much time, and you're looking at your parent going, why are you in such a rush? But if you understood that time doesn't work the same for adults as it does for kids, then you would understand why parents and why teachers and why adults act the way they do. That's why. And she's like, but that doesn't necessarily answer my question. Yeah. And I go, I'm not trying to answer your question. I'm giving you the why. That will allow you to answer your own question once you realize what I just said. And I'll repeat it, and I'll say it again to you at the appropriate time, but you'll learn it. And eventually your unconscious will start to pull this out in times of need, and you'll remember this, which will reduce your anxiety. It'll reduce, your level of, like panic, and you'll understand rather than having an answer. An answer doesn't do you any good. Understanding is what you want. Answers are like 2 + 2 = 4. I want to understand. I want her to understand. That's the true power.
Yeah, I do the same. I mean, she's so lucky to have you. You know what I mean? You're so lucky that she, I think when the child asks the question, maybe they're ready for whatever that answer is going to be, or whatever the advice
they
is
always are.
It's
just a matter of the parent being willing to take the time to explain and have them understand. A lot of parents would be like, that's just because she's crazy. Your mom's crazy. That's why I left her ass. Or like some people would
say that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like some people would be like, that's because because you're too slow. You should get shit done faster. And none of that helps. None of that does a thing except for confuse the shit out of your kid even more.
Yeah, because they take it literally and they don't even understand what you're saying, because that's what they know. Like everything is.
That's all they know.
Dude, that's so good, man. Like the time doesn't work the same for adults as it does for kids. It's so true.
And it's so true, right?
It's so true. Yeah, because remember how long like summer break was, or just how long a year took.
Exactly.
And now like years are just clicking off.
Like months.
I mean, I have a calendar at work, and I like to just take the black Sharpie, and I just tick every day off. It's magnet right up above the cabinets at my desk, and I just tick it's something I just enjoy doing. And I was looking, at towards the end of last year, whatever it was, and I was just like, oh my God, this is just flying,
flying,
crazy. Let's see. I don't know how much time we have on the recording, because it's like a 2-hour recording, and I can't remember.
Limit.
So I just want to keep, because it'll shut.
Yeah, we're getting down there. Yeah, we're getting down there.
For 2
but that's
hours.
all right. Yeah, that's okay, man. We've been. This has been a kick-ass episode.
Oh no, dude, this is really good. I just want to get to where the rest of it. So we said rules. We did health. Yeah. I mean, regardless, I think we have a lot of really good stuff going on here. I do want to touch on the rules that you gave me. So
did you find some of that stuff?
No, but I remember some of them, and the big one was journal.
Yeah.
And
touch on. Oh yeah, I seen you doing the self journal.
So because I only the first time I touched it, I didn't really get through that far. But I texted you, and I don't think you saw it the other day. But I put
Tony Jones.
Yeah, I was like, well, that was his errand. But
the night one. Mine was the day. It was the morning. Yeah.
This morning, I'm grateful, and I said, not letting myself quit that run. Tony Jones and my family.
Yeah, and it's that easy, man.
No, man.
And you don't have to get crafty with it.
I was just telling Jenny about that. I was like, look, you start, and maybe every day for a month, maybe every day for your first month, you're just thankful for your family. You're just thankful for your family. You're just thankful for your family. And then next one day, you're thankful for something else.
All right, I'll show you mine.
Don't have to judge it. You son of a buck. But you know what I'm saying?
Mine's backwards. It says technology is something. Mine's a little different. I'm doing this one until I finish it, because it's called the Sunrise Manifesto.
Yeah, I've seen that one out there.
Yeah, so this it's a gratitude journal too. So the first one says something that I earned or was given, and I said technology. And then a person or relationship is number 2, and that's Joe Pilka. And then check this out. Something simple. Look at number 3. No booze.
Yeah, buddy. And I'm telling you, like, I think it's
reciprocal.
I think it's funny that you told me this. You said sometimes you'll write, my family.
Yeah.
And one day that'll change, but it's so many times I sit down, I'm like, what am I grateful for? And things will pop in my head, and I'll be like, no, write it down.
Just
like,
write
why
it
do
down.
you have to judge like how much weight it has to have? Nobody's reading it.
Yeah,
You
you're
know what I
not
mean?
picking the top three every single time. Otherwise, it would be my family, my health, and
Yeah, my job,
my
whatever it is. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
job. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, something like that. That would be
Oh
the top
man.
three every single time. But that
Yeah.
does
So
no
you
good.
can't. No, you can't. You have to also celebrate like that. I didn't stop running today.
Yes, I love that one.
You know, it's
That's a
like
that's perfect.
you know, I got the catheter out of my penis hole. Like
Yes,
awesome.
exactly.
You know,
Yes,
so
exactly.
this is
And you know
definitely
what?
not for kids, but
It's all good. That was you were completely scientific with that description.
hey, you knew what I was talking about, right?
Yeah, but I
So
mean,
the
like honestly, it's the same thing, dude. And I do the same thing. Like I tell you here, like something I was earned or given, opportunity, a person or relationship, my family, all of them.
yeah,
Here, something I was earned or given, my health, a person or relationship, Dakota, something simple, fire, because we did like the fire pit that night.
nice,
Um,
dude.
and it also says, what was something from yesterday that makes you smile when you think about it? And I put Dakota loving it, because she was
Yeah.
giggling and loving it. Um, that just, like here's Rachel's health. Something simple, good health. Something I was earned or given, the piano. Just crazy.
Oh,
I could have made yesterday better by staying calm.
nice, dude.
Just all that shit.
Interesting. So, um, I'm gonna let this one go because that's gonna go down a rabbit hole we don't need to. But okay, we talked about rules. The one thing I'm really excited for is my Q1 card review. You had
Okay.
said one of my rules
Yeah,
was we
love
said
it.
every quarter we're take them out. You said look at them, rearrange them, da 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 da.
Yeah.
I'm really
You got
excited
some?
for that. Yeah, I have. I mean, look, here's the note cards just from the show. I have at
Okay.
least 4 front and back, and I have a whole stack right here. Note cards, by the way, are my favorite because
That's what you were saying. That's
this
why I
is how
went with
much
that.
room you have, and if you want to flip it over, great.
It's like Twitter, baby.
You can't overdo it. This just says
Yeah.
content plan. You can't overdo it, so you can't put too much on one card, and
Yeah.
so it keeps you legit.
So now you're thinking about it a little bit more, and you're like
Yeah,
you're
I'm really
you're
excited.
dissecting it a little bit more. I
Well,
love
and
it.
then it gives you the opportunity to throw them out if you want to, or take a
For sure.
picture of them and then throw them out. Because when I open up my desk drawer and you're just like, oh my God, here's this stack of cards like I need to go through every time. You open up my desk drawer and I'm like, it's a negative and I have to get past that, and I did that with the garage finally. And now when I open up the garage, I'm like, oh, the garage looks great. Well,
Yep.
for the last 4 years, every
Oh,
time I
you
open it, I
we're
was like,
talking about it all the time.
and I got it. I fixed it. So it's
Yeah.
like another win I feel good about.
Action. It's all action though,
Baby.
baby.
So, okay, I know we wanted to say, what is hard for you? And we could
Oh,
say
yeah.
now, or we could say in life. And
Yes.
and
I
I'm
love that question.
only going to jump in and say this quickly was that on the on the second, because here's my theory. On January 1st, my theory is if you're going to do a New Year's resolution,
Hmm.
just on the first day, fuck it up. On the first day of the year when you say,
I
I'm not
like
going to
it.
drink anymore, drink on January 1st.
I like
And
it.
then you don't have to worry about when your cheat day is going to be because you just
Hmm.
had it. You don't have to
Yep.
worry about being perfect because you're not perfect.
You just messed up. Yep.
You just messed it up. And that's okay. So now you're not perfect, but also that now we're good. I got that out of my system. And so on January 1st, we smoked a bunch of pot.
Hmm.
And then I stopped, and it's been 8 days. And for the first 3 days, I really wanted some. And now I'm so happy that I don't anymore because I'm actually getting more done. My energy is amazing. I would not
Sure.
be as cognitively as I am right now.
Yeah, with
And
it, right.
I realized that I enjoyed it. And I think, and I knew this towards the end of the year, that for those last like 4 months of the year at
Yep.
night when I would use it, it served a purpose because I was in
Sure.
creative mode, but now it's gone and I'm so happy. And that was hard for
It's
me.
weird, right?
The other thing that's hard, I'm going to parlay it hard for me is
Yeah.
just getting sometimes the easiest thing done. For me, I wanted to write on the calendar what every day of No Boost 30 was, but it took me
Okay.
weeks just to pull up the manual, scroll through each day, and write it down.
Yeah, it
Why did
seems like
that
a
take me
simple
so
thing.
long?
You tell me. Be honest
Because
with me, though.
I think this is why. Hold on.
I do that all the time on the podcast.
I think because
I have to cut it out.
I think it was because it was so easy of a task that I figured I had to
Yes.
do it later.
Yes. You could always put it on the back burner.
Because
Sure.
it's a back
Love
burner,
it.
not a big deal. What am I even doing? But I wanted to
I guarantee that was it.
I needed to see like the 30-foot view to see if the days made sense. And I
Sure.
know that, so we just closed the private group until the 1st of February. We're not going to let there are 2 more people clicked in that are about to start day 1 tomorrow.
Okay.
That I just saw. So we're going to, but we shut it now. And we said, please sign up, whatever.
We'll
But
kick it
it's
off
not
in
going to start till
February.
February 1st. And I'm going to rearrange some of the days. And,
Sure.
maybe you and I can talk
Trial and
another
error,
night
man.
about something like that when you go through.
Yeah, I'm going through it step by step for you too, just so I can give you perfect feedback.
I am so just, I can't believe how happy I am that you're doing that. And not that I wouldn't think that you did, but you're doing it, and that's just awesome. You know what I mean?
The only thing I can't do is that Facebook thing because I swore off Facebook.
I'm glad.
But I'll still check it out.
Well, then I would like a suggestion maybe later, like how to do that for people that aren't doing Facebook, because the Facebook group is maybe Slack or something, but the Facebook group is powerful. Like,
no, I think you're right, and I think the Facebook group function is probably the coolest feature of Facebook, and that does serve a purpose. But it was like, I have a thing, on my phone where you can see how much screen time and stuff that you use, right?
Yeah.
And ever since I stopped using Facebook, my screen time has been like, it's dropped by like almost 2 freaking hours, dude. It's out of control.
Where do we see that
at? On mine, it's just it's one of the widgets.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
you could just search that shit. But you could see like social networking, entertainment, productivity. It gives you like a whole breakdown of stuff. And like at no point have I used social media or entertainment for more than 10 minutes at a time. Like before it would probably have been like an hour here and an hour there or something like that. Just me randomly fucking doing nothing. It's just like I have so much more that I could be doing with this time. Even if it is watching like Netflix documentaries or something like that, or playing the piano, or even just cleaning, or just, there's so much shit you can do with that time. And people are always bitching about time and stuff like that. And that's been a huge topic of mine, like I was just telling you too. But yeah, I mean, just taking that time back, and you mentioned it in No Booze 30 as well, that you can take all that time back too. Yeah. So I've got all this time now.
Think about how much time you spend how much longer a bathroom break takes because of social media.
Social media, right?
Like you could be in and out of the bathroom, but no, bathroom is at least like 10 minutes now, because you're sitting in there, you're going to get caught up. You get caught up. Maybe you send a message.
And then you get sucked in.
Then you get out.
Sometimes my legs would go fucking numb because I'd be sitting on the toilet for so long. I'm not joking. I know. I'm
with you. And sometimes it's like, it's nice actually to have a break, but there's other things you can do. Like you could be sending messages to somebody. You could be catching up on email or whatever you need to do. Fair enough. But you don't need to be in that, rabbit hole. But anyway, so yeah, that's been hard.
But other than that, I'm going to do everything tasks. No booze exactly on point.
Yeah, dude, you're a fucking stud, man. And I'm excited to hear, how that goes for you. Not so much the no booze thing, but do you have what are you doing as a P goal, as a progress goal?
Oh, okay, hang on, I got it in here,
because that should be like, I think that's day 6.
Yeah, hang on, where was it?
Because that's after we get through like the week.
Sugar was 5.
Because after you get through the week,
yeah, here it is,
and it gets easier. I wanted to give people something that they could make progress on, but they didn't have to complete. Oh, I got my
whoa, nice catch.
My Christmas pants on.
No, I seen it in the reflection. I was laughing because I was like, "What the hell's he wearing? Are those Zubas?"
Zubas.
Are those bear Zubas?
Bear Zubas. That's like something Boginski would totally wear.
For sure. I love how you mentioned them in here too. That was hysterical.
I had to.
Yeah, for sure. Mine was just health, of course, because of what I was coming out of.
Oh, yeah.
So my P goal was health.
Yeah.
And then I also put music and info, and then I had 3 of them. And info meaning like kind of what I was doing with all the psychology shit, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And learning about all that type of stuff. But I kind of picked health. And then what I said too was, okay, get under 210 pounds.
Okay.
So you said name your top 3 long-term P goals. Mine was 210 pounds, read more, and the piano. Obviously all those, and I'll get back to the reading thing in a second. Choose one to work on for the next 3 weeks. That's what I picked. Health. How many days in total will you work over this next 3 weeks? I said 18 days.
Nice.
And that was like going to the gym. But obviously every single day I'm going to concentrate on eating right, all that jazz, drinking right, all that. What will you do each day? Work out, stretch, and eat. Just like I said,
Nice. I need to
how will you
stretch.
measure progress and goal? Weight, look, and feel.
Nice.
What will be your reward when you achieve your goal? I put more work.
You are too real.
Yeah. Because if you say anything else, it's just a lie. You just got to keep working.
But you do
Yeah.
have to reward yourself, or it's not fair.
I
You know what
agree.
I mean?
But
Not
you know
that
what
fair is the right way, but it's not. Otherwise, it's not. You know what I mean? Like if you don't give yourself the reward, whatever, it doesn't have to. Whatever, you know, isn't it? Isn't like
well, I
that's what I
kind of
keep
like,
hearing.
right. So for example, I said no work because at the point when I was doing some of this stuff, I was just happy to be, back at the gym. And to
Yeah.
me, the reward was being able to keep working, because when
Yeah.
you think about it, if your health goes to
I
shit tomorrow and I
see.
can't keep working, not
Yeah.
work, I'm talking like work meaning like this,
Oh, I
like working out,
gotcha.
like
Yeah.
doing my piano, doing the podcast. When I can't do my passion projects because of a health issue,
Yeah.
there's no better reward than the ability for me to keep my body in a shape or in a condition where I can continue to be the best father I can be, to walk my dog around the block, to play the piano, to do the podcast, to be a friend to you and to talk online here like this, whatever, help
Yeah.
around the house
That
with
makes
dishes and shit
sense.
like that, like that was one of the things that was killing me, is like I told you before, is like I try to do everything. I vacuum, I do the dishes, I do the laundry, I do the garbage, I do the fucking, wash all the windows, I water all the plants, I do every fucking thing. Remember, because I told you I just want to take all that stress out of the situation by just taking it all on myself. And I've come to love it like it's a habit, like getting up early, like brushing your teeth, like taking a shower. Now it's just a habit. It doesn't even bother me. But the only time it bothered me was when I couldn't do it. So like when I
Yeah.
when I had the catheter and I'm stuck in this bed, on the couch actually, and I couldn't even do the dishes because I felt like such shit, like that depressed me more than having to do the dishes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the
You know
work
what?
is my reward, baby.
I like that, Tony, a lot, man. That's really good. You know what is I think doing the dishes is just is the same analogy as making the make your bed.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
It's
Like
it
I
all
have
go. It's
dishes
all
in
the
the
same
sink
thing.
right now, and I will not go to bed tonight until the dishes are done because I know it'll make me happy, it'll make her happy, and the fact that that's like making the bed
Yeah.
when you get up, you know?
Yep.
Like you
And
had
there's
talked about that
psychological
like on one
effects
of your
there,
podcasts. You're like, make the
big
bed
time.
because that's the win. You know what I mean? So what is
I
hard for
should take
you?
you up right now and show you my bed. Hard for me, like I said. So
Because we
I
were talking about what one or whatever is hard. Like,
For sure, for
is it
sure. This is
simple
an easy one for
things?
me too. No, this is a big one. So after reading 12 Rules for Life, after reading the Carl Jung book, after doing some more homework on like Freud and Nietzsche and a bunch of those types of thinkers, what I've come to realize is that emotionally, I'm probably about 9 years old. Physically, I'm 42, almost 43, but I have so much emotional and spiritual and like internal growing to do. And I'm so behind and there's such a deficit that I almost feel embarrassed. And the only way that you can actually start that process is by the realization that you're emotionally immature big time. And I might be a little bit off, but I'm giving it worst case scenario by saying like when I'm stressed to the point to where I lose my cool or whatever you want to call that, or I have anxiety to the point to where I lose my cool, I turn into an emotional 9-year-old boy, and I can't control my anger or my feelings. I don't beat people up or anything like that
Yeah,
anymore. It's just the frustration gets the better of me and I'm not thinking clear is more of what I'm saying. I'm not
you're a little
angry and slapping
snarky.
people fucking around.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get condescending. I get fucking, evil with my words and my tone, and I retract and I pull away from people and the positive things that I should be focusing on. And now, I can catch myself quicker when it happens. But the biggest struggle for me was the realization that I have so much fucking work to do when I thought I was so far along. You know what I mean? But when I got that reality bomb, all I said to myself was, at least you know now. So now you can work on it from this point forward.
Yeah,
There's
that's
nothing
so
you can
hard.
do about the past, bro. But now all you got to do is you got to work on this going forward. And what did you just say? It's so hard. That's why that's the hardest thing for me.
Well, it's so hard to be able to
Exactly.
understand that point
Yes.
and be like, oh my gosh, I thought
Yes.
I was, my podcast the other
Way further
morning
along.
was, I'm so mad because I was pissed off at them in the morning that I had to take Payne to school when Jenny was at home,
Mhm.
and then on the show, I realized I could have left 10 minutes earlier. I could have got Payne out of the house 10 minutes earlier.
So whose fault was it?
It was my fault. And I realized
Exactly.
it on the show. And then I came to the realization and I said it. And I was like, you know what? That show's therapy for me. And I
Yes.
right on the show, I realized as I was so mad, I realized it was my own fault.
Exactly, man. And I
And
tell this to everybody. Every single one of those things. I don't give a shit what you want to excuses and bullshit you want to tie to it until you realize that it was your own doing. It'll never go away. You have to realize that every fucking thing, every possible thing that's ever happened to you is this is a bad way to say it. It's your fault. That sounds bad, but it's your doing. You put yourself in that position. Even if somebody shoots you because you're at a nightclub and you're just trying to have a good time, you're there. You put yourself in that position, regardless if you thought it was good or bad or something good or bad was going to happen. Everything, I don't care how you want to spin it in your head, everything that happens to you is because you made it happen to you.
dude, that's going to be my post. I've been using LinkedIn a lot. You on
Yeah,
LinkedIn?
yeah.
I've been,
Yeah, but I don't mess with it that much.
well, it's the corporate Facebook.
Right.
So, I've
That's what I
said
use
before,
it
it's
as.
the
Yeah.
only thing that you can corporate that we can't go on Facebook at work unless you're on your phone, but you can go on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, and
Right.
LinkedIn is that social media for people that are at their desks all day. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've been ever since like the first of the year, every morning, my podcast, when it through Anchor, the RSS feed posts
Love
right
it.
to there. And I'm posting almost all of my content now to LinkedIn as
Cool.
well. And I'm doing my top 10 things that make me happy at work. And today I did number 5. Tomorrow, though,
Beautiful.
tomorrow's, or not tomorrow, but one of my posts is going to be, it's your fault. If you're late to your job, the money you
It's not
make,
the dude in
his
front of
job's
you
in it,
that was
the
too
bid in it,
slow.
the thing that
Yeah, it's
meant,
not your
yeah.
boss not giving you the big raise.
Yeah.
It's none of that. That's
Yeah.
what you project outwardly in order to prevent yourself from feeling that pain
Yeah.
and from taking that responsibility, because you've always been told throughout your life, hey man, it wasn't your fault. Life's not fair sometimes. None of that matters.
Yeah.
None of that fucking matters.
Yeah.
What matters is that you need to take accountability for that, because the minute you do, you'll start to catch yourself quicker, and you'll catch yourself being, unreasonable about your time frames because you had to drop off your kid, you had to do something for the wife, and you still had to get to work on time. And now you're pissed because you feel like you're not in control. You're never fucking in control. But this is kind of weird. You're not in control, but everything you do is your fault. That's going to be a hard one for you to wrap your head around. Think about that for a
That's
while.
good, man. That's good.
But you're not in control. But because everyone wants control, and that's where you get into that problem. You wanted to control when Payne got to school. You wanted to control whatever you had to do prior to work. You wanted to control what time you got to work, what you do at work. And somebody comes up to you and says, hey, Joel, I got this special project I need you to do, man. And it throws off your whole fucking game plan because you had an idea of what you wanted to get done at work today, but now somebody's telling you what to do. That's
Well,
not the case.
yeah. And here's the
Just that
simple
you
thing.
don't control anything.
And this, yeah, you're right. You know what? And it was a pause for a minute. But then if you think you can eat right, you can do all the things, you can exercise, you can still have a heart attack, you can still get cancer, you can
Yes.
still whatever.
Yes.
And it's like you're
Yes.
not in control. And
Yes.
there can be freedom in that, right?
Yes.
It's like believing in God. It's saying,
God,
I will give it
religion.
to God
That's the basis of
because
religion.
it's giving me a way
freedom.
to say, He's got it. I'm going to let go of this and just know
That's
that there's
exactly
something
what it
somewhere,
is.
you know what I mean? Which is healthy.
Yep.
So if people don't want to
Yes.
believe in whatever God, that's fine, but believe in something that gives you a way, not a way out, but a way to let go
To
of
realize
the
that.
control part of it.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know?
Yes. Just
Wow,
for that
that's
realization.
good, dude. Hold on a minute.
Yeah. No worries, man.
That's good.
But that's the kind of stuff that's been going through my head from reading all those books. That's what's now difficult for me, is figuring out that there's a huge fucking world and all of this information that I was oblivious to and blind to that I could have used for so long to help me through my journey of life. I'm grateful that I found it now, but I mean, once you realize that, and once you realize that I've been lifting nothing but like 2-pound dumbbells my entire life, and somebody drops a 70-pound kettlebell in front of you, and you're like, how am I supposed to lift that? You know? And it's like with practice, just like anything else. So you keep reading, you keep thinking, you keep trying to comprehend these ideas, you keep talking to people like you keep posting podcasts and posting on social media, you keep helping people, you talk to other people and explain that shit to them too. And eventually one day, that 70-pound kettlebell becomes like those 2-pound dumbbells. Then you can increase the weight and you can get smarter. You can get more intel. You can see a bigger picture. And then things start to get even more calm and they slow down in your mind and in your life because now you have all this information at your disposal. You have all of this knowledge and wisdom at your disposal. Nothing can phase you. You know, like you're like, no, I understand where you're coming from and why you're saying that. And, you know, honestly, I can't fault you for saying that, but I wish that you would just look at it in this light or something like that. And maybe here's a book you could read or something instead of telling, I'll tell you what the fuck, you know, the answer is. I'll tell you what's up. And then you get into this argument with them. You can navigate that shit way better. You know, once you get that knowledge.
Right. I'll tell you what, you're right. Yeah, I thought this just this whatever it was about the knowledge piece.
You talk about keeping your kid off the couch, man. What's going on back there?
He could see you up on the desk. He goes, you talking about keeping your kid off the couch? What's she doing? She's sneaking around. Printing.
Sorry.
I said the printer just kicked on. My thought is this. So it's like knowledge is truly power. If you did nothing for this next year, but read, let's say 1 book a week, let's say 2 books a month. Every 2 weeks, you read a book and you did, you did nothing else. At the end of the year, you could turn that into something. You could just talk about it. But now when people come up to you and when something happens at work and somebody maybe who's a senior vice president says something and all of a sudden you have something thoughtful to say because you read a book on leadership or you read a book on empathy, on emotional intelligence.
For sure.
All of a sudden, like you have an opinion about something that, you know,
a really good one.
That's a thoughtful opinion that you've taken time. So it's like,
you'll turn heads in that room, dude. People will be like, huh?
People will be like, oh, that guy's got a head on his shoulders. The reason you and I even have so much to talk about is because we like to talk and we like to help, but it's because we keep learning. We're sages and we keep trying to learn.
I love it.
I think everybody is at some point, and it's just like, if you don't know what to do, but you want to do something, just start reading or start going down a healthy YouTube rabbit hole.
Yeah, for sure.
If you don't want to read about emotional intelligence, then go watch the top 10 most viewed YouTube videos on your big YouTube.
Tie it together with something you love. Like watch the psychoanalysis of Disney movies like I did.
Oh, man, that one got you going down that whole Peter Pan thing got you hard. It was awesome. Now I need to do that. that.
Watch something and tie it together with something that you want to do and that you love. Like you could tie running into, like I said, like, you know, like YouTube, because you're getting back into running, but you can go on YouTube and learn how to run. Like you were saying.
I'm actually going to, because I don't know how to run. I just learned how to swim on YouTube. It's unbelievable.
That's what I'm saying. And it's all action based, and just tie something that you know into something that you want to do. Like I want to learn how to play piano. First thing I did was, you know, I went online and tried to amass knowledge. I mean, you can, and the thing that I knew was how to get online and amass knowledge. I didn't know anything about the piano, so you just tie them together. And it could be something like you said, a book and some sort of thought process. You tie them together, you're good to go. You know, it's that easy.
You're right.
So you're not doing something totally new. You're tying something you already have a huge passion and knowledge about with something new.
And that's what keeps the motivation. What keeps the consistency is that you have to have the passion to that thing.
For sure.
I'm gonna my new hat here. This is from my buddy's company called Big Buck Down, and he's got an outfitter in Iowa, the best like trophy buck hunting in the country. Is this number 1 county is this guy, and they got a place out there, and I just had to throw that out there. So if you're
man!
for
Shout out to
Big Buck Down.
Big buck down. Yeah, for sure. Has he
Yeah,
got
dude.
social media and all that jazz?
Yeah, they got all that stuff. Check it out. And he's been so good with his social media. Like he threw out this one
It's important.
post that was like, hey, if you don't like and share, it was almost like a chain letter. If you don't like and share this, you're not going to get a big buck this year or something like that.
Yeah,
And it went
yeah.
like viral. He's like, dude, I got
Oh
like
yeah.
thousands of, and I'm so proud
Shares
of
and
him,
stuff.
man.
Yeah,
He's,
retweet.
this is my buddy I met out here who really pushes me. He played hockey D1 at Ohio State. I mentioned
Oh,
him a
that's
lot on my
awesome.
show, and you'll meet him for sure. What I wanted to
For
say to
sure.
you about the whole emotional thing, you said, like your 9-year-old kid, and maybe
Yes.
whatever that is. I think that I'm a super emotional person and really,
Yeah,
really,
man.
really in tune with that. And I think that the more we spend physical time together, that maybe I can help you expand that part. Not that we
Oh, for
even
sure.
talk about it, but just the way that we interact. I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, 100%. You already do it without you even knowing,
Yeah,
And
probably.
I wouldn't have
Almost.
got to this point if it wasn't for somebody like yourself, like I said, where you can have just conversation where we're not just talking about how shitty the
The
Bears
Cubs or
were.
the Bears or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's normally what I talk to about everybody in small talk and stuff. And it's just like, yeah, I was an athlete, but I'd rather talk about this fucking Carl Jung book that I'm reading right now. I don't
So
care about the Cubs right now.
two things. Will you send me that book when you're done?
Yeah, for sure, dude. I'll just send it over.
And so I need to settle up our bet.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. For the reading.
$25 gift card I owe you to Amazon. And what was the
Hmm.
second bet with the 20 pages a day? Because you crushed. By the way, I did finish the book before the end of the
Nice.
year, and I was going to text you that I finished the book, and I figured we'd talk, but it took me a lot longer. But I almost like kind of skipped out of it, tried speed reading it, and I was like, dude,
Yep.
don't. I go, Tony's
No,
not going
don't
to
rush the
care.
process,
Do this
baby.
the right way. And I was
Yeah.
like, just get it done. So I know we had a $25 gift card on the challenge, but then we had a 20-day thing. Well, I don't remember what our second part was. Did we ever lay like a prize on that second part? Was it
Well,
written in the? Was it written in the?
let's just stick to the $25 thing. But let me think about that because I think I have an idea on how to settle that up with the same kind of constraints, but not where we're just passing off gift cards or some shit. Let me
Yeah,
think about it for a
that
second.
was
I
off the
think I got
cuff.
something.
Well,
Yeah,
I want to throw down the next challenge, and I mean, I
for
don't know if
sure.
you threw the reading challenge out or I did, but
I did. You wanted a challenge. I said, let's do a reading one.
okay.
And just to expand on that really quick, because of that challenge, I got through this man and his symbols. Actually, I have one more day left because I'm still doing 20 pages a day.
You
That's how I
are?
got through this. But I'm just not tracking it on your tracker anymore. I
Oh,
made
that's
my
fine.
own tracker.
You didn't know that you were doing that
Yeah.
though. You were still doing 20 pages a day.
Yep. So I got all the way to I'm on page 360 right now. There's 387 pages left, or 387
Wow.
total pages in this book. But it worked like a charm. Like I said, it got me into the habit. So now I do it every day, no matter what,
Done.
even if
I'm
it's
starting
like at
that.
11 o'clock or something. Dude,
What
it's so awesome. I love it. I'm so pumped that I did it.
what is your wait, but did you read Maps of Meaning before this?
No. I just remember I was trying to wait because we were going to do Maps of Meaning maybe together.
Yeah, but I
So
thought you
I
did
was
it.
like,
I read it.
no,
No.
I just jumped into this because I wanted a carryover while I was waiting for you to finish that so that we could figure out the next challenge or whatever we were going to do,
Well, I'm going to
So
order Maps of Meaning tonight, and then I'll be ready for when you're done with Young, which is going to be in 2 days.
tomorrow I'll be done with it. Yeah, Thursday was my last day of Maps of Meaning or Man and His Symbols.
All right, I'm literally going to order it when we get off the thing, and so hopefully I can.
Yeah,
get
and I'll
it.
send you this too, and then I'll keep pounding books your way, bro.
All
I got
right.
a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna burn through,
I
and I'll
want to
just send
send
them
you
to you.
something. What if I see? I don't know if I sent you that Agassi biography, if you would take autobiography, if you would read it, because I mean I know you would love it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. And here actually I shouldn't say that. I'm going to send it to you anyway.
Sure.
And you read it whenever you read it.
Yep.
Because my buddy's sent me some books, and it's like when you send somebody a book, they'll read it when it's time for them to read it. Not
Yes.
it's not like you
I
check
agree.
in with somebody. Did you read that book yet? It's like
No, I agree.
some girl gave me a book recently, and I said, she goes, can you read it in 2 weeks before we meet? I said, no. I said, I'm in a reading challenge with my buddy, and that takes precedence first. So when I'm done with that, I may be able to, but I'll get back to you. And she's like, all right, I respect that. And I was like, that's cool. you
Well,
know?
you told her the truth. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying, man.
you know what I mean?
That's just
Um,
true. You could have told her, yeah, no problem, just to avoid any type of unnecessary potential conflict.
yeah, I'll
But
read
then
it.
you would have set yourself up for disappointment and her for getting pissed off, and now she doesn't trust you worth a shit or
Doesn't
whatever.
trust
You know?
me. I'm gonna let myself down.
Yeah,
You
you'll
know, you
feel like
said
shit. You'll be embarrassed. You know, all
you
that
said
stuff.
recess earlier, and I just want to drop a note and say I think we need to bring recess back into the workplace. I
Oh,
think it should be
100%, man.
recess, dude.
Yeah.
And I started then I try to write like a whatever and
What it would
nanogram or
make,
whatever.
yeah,
So
what it
like
would stand for.
recharge, engage, connect, exercise,
I
stretch, and
love
then I
that.
couldn't think of the last one. Recharge, engage with. So you recharge, you engage with people, you connect, or you engage different. Well, your body, you connect with people, exercise, stretch, and something. I mean, they're kind of generic, but we can come up with something. But recess,
I
dude.
like that already. That's pretty good. But I agree. And I always tell this to everybody too, is every day I'll go out and I'll take the dog for a walk around like 1 o'clock, 1:30, and I'll take him around the block just because if I don't, and I have the luxury of this because I work from home, but even if you do it at work and you just walk somewhere outside, the reason why I did this is because I found out that like Albert Einstein and like Monet and like all these fucking great thinkers and great artists and great people, creative people throughout time would go on these crazy ass brisk walks through the city where they lived whenever they had like, you know, creative block or they couldn't sit down
Yeah.
and focus, you know. And it's just like a, you know, take care of the meat suit real quick and the meat suit will calm down so that you can focus on what you need to. And I can totally see the difference when I don't do that because it'll be too
Yeah.
cold or something and I don't want to subject the dog to that. And I don't have necessarily enough time to go to the gym and come back in the middle of the day. And if I don't do it, I'll notice, you know. And I
You've been
think that's
talking
super
about
important. Recess,
you,
baby.
you've been talking about walks since we've started talking. You know, back I don't even know how long it's been.
Yeah,
Um,
probably at least a year now.
I'm gonna put all these notes. You said flesh maintenance earlier, which I thought was the coolest. So you're like flesh maintenance, and I was like, dude, I've
Yeah,
never heard that. Like meat suit, I've
meat
heard.
suit, flesh maintenance, all
I'm
that shit.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna text or I'm gonna I'll just email you my notes that I wrote down because we can just put them in the
love it.
show notes. Um,
Yeah,
and I don't know why I'm saying I'm emailing to you like you're doing it or whatever, but
I'll do whatever, man.
we'll at least we'll have it somewhere, or we should at least
Yeah,
start like a running document. And
love
then
it.
I wanted to say one other thing. Oh, I sent you a calendar appointment reminder now. I know this is Wednesday, but for Monday
Reoccurring
nights,
one.
it's a reoccurring till the end of the year, every Monday. Now,
Okay.
whether or not that could be a
Yeah,
goal for us, and obviously we won't be able to make every Monday, but
exactly.
and I put
And
it,
that's okay
I
too.
can't remember what time I put it down for, but at least it's on the calendar. And I invited you, and I invited Jenny too because she needs to know what my calendar is, not
Yeah, I do the
whatever.
same thing with Rach too, man.
Um, and I thought I had something else I wanted to tell you, dude. Oh, the running method, but
Yeah.
no worries. I don't know.
I'll find
Uh,
out that running method too, and I'll text you right after this,
okay.
and then we'll put that in the show notes as well. And then, like I said, if you want me to upload this bad boy, what
Yeah.
I usually do before I upload, I'll listen to the whole thing again, and I'll just take notes. Like I'll retake notes again and say, oh yeah, like we talked about, you know, flesh maintenance. I think that's hysterical,
I
and I'll
know.
kind of try to throw it into like the 2 sentence description of the episode or something. Um, or I'll talk about the running, or what we talked about the running method. I'll immediately say, "Oh, put YouTube video of the running method or a link to the running method," and I'll just go through it. This is what I do with my
Let's
podcast
do
too, so that
this.
I don't forget.
Let's alternate then. And so if you do the
I'm fine
first
with
one,
that.
then I'll follow your format because we're both, you know,
Well,
busy.
you're going to capture them, so where do you want to post it in order to get it to me?
Well, I was thinking just like a Google Drive,
Yeah, do you have something like that that you can use? That's
or I
cool.
can upload it into our channel and keep it private, and then you can go in and edit it
Through
to
it. Yeah,
public at
that's
some
cool
point.
too.
Let's do that. Let's do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I was just trying to think because and I honestly could probably set it up to where I record as well, just to make it, you know, like you said, reciprocal.
Yeah.
So then I have it and I have to upload it. So let me check that out too. I'm gonna make
Actually,
that
that's
note.
a good idea. I think if you log into my Zoom account, then it's like on your end.
Right.
Does that, I think, right,
Yeah. No,
man?
I follow what you're saying. Yeah. So then I'm in control pretty much. I'm the presenter.
And for everybody else out there that does listen to this at some point, I think that we should, because when this comes through, it comes through as audio and a video. We
Sure.
could push that audio right into a podcast,
I love it. Yeah.
and we do
For
two at the same
sure.
time, video and we just do it while we're doing it. And now we have
Yeah.
a podcast that people can, they don't have to see the video, they can have the thing.
I agree.
Oh,
That's
this is good.
perfect. And
All
then, like
right.
you said, we can even bust out some of the, we could even transcribe some of them with quotes and stuff and use that, post that to social media or whatever. I love all that.
I like it.
Because I know on Buzzsprout, you can transcribe it straight from Buzzsprout too for podcasts and shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just click a button and it spits the whole entire text out.
I did not know. I switched to Buzzsprout because of you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. I found out I'm going to have a guest here soon. She's the first female full-time hitting coach. She got hired by the Yankees.
Oh, shut up. That's awesome. I didn't hear this.
She's a friend of a friend that I used to work with. And I didn't know she before she got hired with the Yankees, I was trying to get her on my show because she was a hitting coach for like Houston or something like that. And I said,
That's
hey, I'd love
awesome.
to. And then I saw the announcement come out and I sent her an Instagram. I said, well, now that you're big time, I probably won't get you on the show. She's like, no, I'd love to do the show. Hit me in the, grab my email and send me the info and let's do it. And so it's going to be really cool, man.
Set it up for sure, dude. That's what it's all about. Talk about positive life shit. That's it right there in a nutshell.
Yeah, man. No, so yeah, well, if we're gonna throw it out there, so No Boost 30, it's noboost30.com. You can sign up for free. It's a free program. We're not charging. We're just trying to change people's lives. You know what I mean? And then how's the show? I haven't heard I was listening to your show the other day, but it was the New Year's resolution show. Have you been doing it since you've been down for the count? Are you not going forward with it this year?
Yes, I definitely will. And I just did my second Dakota interview because I said, that I want to interview Dakota every single year on her winter break. So I just interviewed Dakota again and posted that up there.
Oh, I remember the first one. I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah, this one's hysterical, dude. You should hear her. You can hear her and my influence on her. She'll start to talk about time and she'll start to talk about like all these different concepts. And you're like, this chick is 8?
Oh, I can't wait to hear that, dude.
But then she's like, what you need to do is when you face your fears, you tell that fear to F off. I'm like, Dakota, relax. I'm like, relax. I'm like, it's all good.
I'm still your dad.
Yeah, she's like, but she was talking about how she, like you face your fears and how you overcome, challenges and stuff. And she's like, you just got to tell your mind, to do it and stuff. And you can hear it. It's
good for you, man. You're putting some very, very powerful and, deep thoughts in a kid's head that can process those over the course of her life that maybe we didn't learn until our 30s or whatnot.
Yeah, it's hysterical listening to her, talk and answer me sometimes. When I think that I'm talking over her head, she'll turn around and say something that'll blow my mind. And I'm just like, whoa, so it's awesome.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Cool, brother.
You'll get there, man.
Yeah, it'll be so fun. I can't wait. I love every day. I got to figure out a way that I can not be, we'll still make money, but not be in the tied to a desk somewhere and spend no time with pain because I need.
It'll happen.
Yeah, it'll happen.
It will. It'll happen to everybody. That's just the way that the world is moving. So it's a snowball effect, and it'll all get there. Everyone will be mobile and hostile eventually, dude.
Mobile and hostile.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're back in the gym, man. I'm feeling good.
Hell yeah. I was just there before I hit this up and I smell like chlorine because I was in the hot tub. I love that smell. That makes me feel like I'm on vacation. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm putting a triathlon on the books this year.
Oh, yeah. You were saying something about marathon or triathlon or something. I'm going to do a duathlon. That was what mine is. Yep, it's in Schaumburg here. It's a bike and run. So you run, bike, run.
Oh, so there's 3 things, but you just don't swim. You only do 2 modalities, but you still do 3 legs.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool.
They call it a duathlon still, though.
That makes sense. But I thought that you only would do 2 things, but no, you do 2 things, but you still do 3 sets or whatever, right? Or whatever you call it.
Yeah, 3 stages.
3 stages. Yep. There you go. Oh, dang it. When is it?
My headset just went dead.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. We could call it. When is it though?
Oh, it's in like the middle of the summer. I got to double check the date with Rach because she's done it the last 2 years, and I've just been her bike caddy. But she asked me this past year, and I was like, well, I'll start running because I don't run. Because like you wasn't a runner.
I
And
hate it.
I'll start running. And then once I get, 3K or so under my belt where I can do that no problem, then, I'll sign up and do it. And she's like, okay. So then the minute that I got out of the hospital and I got that catheter removed, I turned around and looked at her and go, I'm in for the duathlon. And she's like, what? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm in for that duathlon this summer. And she's like, yo, you sure? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm 100% positive. I'll be ready to rock, Don't worry about that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I went to a gong bath on.
Yeah.
So we went to this thing, and Jenny went with me. It was a couple hours long, and you set your intentions, and they talk, and we did some yoga, and then all of a sudden the guy had like 5 gongs, and he's like, these are gonna vibrate your body. It was cool. And then he walked around somewhere. We did this whole thing, and oh shit, dude, I don't know even where I was gonna go with it because now,
baby.
But yeah, we just it was something new, and it really resonated with me. But it was cool. Damn it! So you said something about, and then it got me thinking about gong bath. Oh well, we'll let it go till next time.
No, that's perfect. That's what happens. We get to this point.
Yeah.
We start to go on a tangent, and then we forget where we were going with that tangent.
I know.
We've done this a couple of times, actually.
Yeah, and that was probably back before when it was happening a lot. It was when my brain was preoccupied.
Eventually, the battery just.
Yeah, it's just like, it's so funny with my little one with Payne, because tonight we're reading books about the ocean and whatnot, and then he's like, and then what is he gonna eat? Or you could see how tired he was, and then we went into bed. I started reading a book. He's just like out. Yeah. It's like he couldn't,
man.
Well, thanks, dude. I love this time. And I'm happy that you're feeling better.
For Wednesday too, because I was kind of depressed too that we couldn't talk on Monday. But of course, I understand. I'm in the same boat sometimes too, and I've had to cancel as well. So not a big deal. But I was just pumped that you're like, nope, let's go right back at it on Wednesday. Let's do it. So that was awesome.
I really wanted to get time. And like the Mondays, there was a time there, like you and I were cooking on Mondays. Like there were like 3 or 4 Mondays in a row we hit it, and Mondays seemed to work for me. So let's just keep that going, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. I appreciate it, my man.
You know it.
The dishes. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
I'm going to do them right now. That's good. I'm going to talk about it on my show in the morning about doing the dishes.
Now you have no choice because I just called you out.
Yeah, you sure did. That's awesome.
Thanks again, brother.
Let's do this again soon. All right, man. See you.